Hello, hello. Testing. Titty 1, titty 2.
It's live. Get it started.
We're live, pal. But yeah, enough of us just screwing around here. What's good, y'all? It's the Chillmeister J. Christian Gary. And y'all are basically, as long awaited as y'all can be, locked into a brand new episode of Focus Fights Audio. At least Focus Fights Audio and video in this case. And of course, I wouldn't be here without J Wolf and without Cap'n to help me out and get this going, as we are just basically here with what I guess you could say now 3 weeks to go before the first Rising event of 2024, here to talk about the comings and goings of what happened with Rising in 2023 and with everything else that's transpired. But first of all, J Wolf, how have you been doing as of late?
Hey, brother, how you doing? Oh, I've been doing good. Thank you for having me on. I can't wait to talk to you about this stuff. The Epic Rising Fighting Federation. We're going to talk about. We're spending a little bit of time doing a review of 2023, and then we're going to preview 2024, what we think is going to happen, and previews and predictions of 2024. So it's going to be a good show. I can't wait. This is going to be a lot of fun. So thanks for having me on. Appreciate it.
And Cap'n, I don't know what part of the country you're from. I'm guessing you're from the East Coast, right?
I'm a West Coast boy like J Wolf.
Oh, my apologies then.
That's all right.
Still, though, what have your thoughts been about the Rising Fighting Federation in 2023?
In 2023, it was a pretty big year. I think they had a lot of events. They had some big peaks for especially with the Super Rising, and this past New Year's were incredible. And I'm hoping to carry that good energy onto 2024. Hit some more events, see some great fights, and hopefully have a lot more to talk about.
I see. Now, when it comes down to, and you know what, it's hard for me to even get off of how this year really transpired, because when you think about what happened in 2023 with Rising, obviously they're 2 years out the pandemic. They're trying to get back. They, at the point of this time last year, were trying to get international fighters back into the promotion. And obviously you had a bunch of crazy things going on. I mean, J Wolf, can you at least explain some of those things?
Oh yeah, absolutely. I mean, they look like Jay Chris was saying, they were coming out off the pandemic and trying to expand internationally, and they did expand internationally. They had the first international event in Azerbaijan. That was sensational. Landmark 7. Go check it out. Absolutely sensational. That's where Chihiro Suzuki won the featherweight or the bantamweight title. Oh no, was it featherweight or bantamweight? I think it was featherweight. Anyways,
featherweight.
Chihiro Suzuki won the title. And the first international event is absolutely sensational. And also, they were collaborating the entire year from the previous New Year's Eve event was the Bellator versus Rising collaboration mega event, and then all throughout the year they were having collaboration bouts. All throughout even on the Super Rising card, everything. So, and it was, in matter of fact, I don't know if you guys saw, but the fans voted on what the best fights were for Rising last year, and two of those fights, actually no. There was more than two of them, but for sure, two of them were Bellator collaboration super fights with Juan Archuleta. And it was Juan Archuleta Inoue was one of them. And then the top bout, the number one bout that voted on by the fans was Juan Archuleta versus Kai Asakura at New Year's Eve. So, I mean, clearly the fans are loving the international bouts, the collaboration bouts, all that good stuff. So, I mean, they also had Chihiro knocking out Patricio Pound Pitbull in another collaboration super fight bout that happened last year. So to me, that was really, the story of last year was really them, expanding internationally, like we were saying, and just, getting rid of the stupid pandemic era stuff. And also, But towards the end of the year, if you notice, not only did they expand internationally, but they started making the cards more like Japanese centric, meaning like they had like some cards they would have like just mostly Japanese fighters, like it was catered to the Japanese fan base, and that's because they're selling out shows. They're doing fantastic on pay-per-view. I mean, they're getting incredible. Just look at their numbers on their YouTube channel and stuff. They're doing incredible right now. So and that's why, you know, we have a joke with Drew. We're joking around in the Ryzen Discord chat about, you know, how they're having less and less foreigners on the card, but that's because they're trying to cater it towards a Japanese audience. Plus, also the stupid UFC media here. I call them the UFC. I don't dignify them and give them the title of MMA media. That's for us, you guys. You guys are the MMA media. We're the MMA media. They're the freaking UFC lapdog media, and they don't give them any coverage, nothing. That's why they're going to. Why would they, you know, pay a bunch of money for international stuff if they're gonna, you know, not get any kind of coverage, you know, until like the results or whatever. So, and also, got to make sure to mention this. Speaking of international stuff, remember they brought out on the New Year's Eve mega event that just happened. They brought out Manny Pac-Man Pacquiao. They're hyping up they might be doing Pac-Man versus Mayweather 2, a big rematch. We don't know if that's going to be a Super Rise in the summer or for New Year's Eve next year. And Pac-Man's even stated he wants to make a comeback to boxing. He's going to be doing the Olympics in Paris this year and everything. So, I mean, dude, there's a bunch of cool stuff coming up. But, I mean, for 2023, that was certainly one of the biggest news that happened right towards the end of the year. And you know, they had – you know, we talked about we'll talk about it more, but the Azerbaijan event, also that was when Chihiro won the title. But before that, we were talking about on the Super Rising card, Chihiro knocked out pound for pound Patricio Pitbull, one of the top pound for pound fighters in the world in Bellator. So, I mean, the Japanese mixed martial arts, and especially specifically Epic Rising, they really, I mean, to me, the 2023 was a breakout year for them. All the way from the New Year's Eve of last year with that Bellator versus Ryzen Super show. That was so freaking fun. And then all throughout the year, just to me, spent internationally while at the same time catering to the Japanese audience. So it was just, man, it was just a lot of fun. And I mean, what do you guys want to talk about for 2023? We could get, you know, I could go on for hours about this stuff. I mean,
yeah,
the best Ryzen 43. Okay. Oh yeah. All right. No, I want to hear Captain has to say. I'm already talking for like 5 minutes now.
Yeah, I know you can go on for hours and talk about this stuff, but
I love it. You know me. I love it.
Yeah, but Captain, first of all, turn your mic up so the people can hear you. Second of all, you know, what are your? I mean, just like what Jay Wolf has described, what has been some of your bright spots about Rising this year?
How's the mic volume? Is that all right?
Yes,
yeah,
good.
That's good.
Okay, cool. Well, 2023, I felt I agree with Jay. It was a really good year for the promotion domestically. I can't remember whether or not it was it a tweet from Jedi Goodman or someone on Twitter that does the like economics, and they're saying that like cash for cash, Ryzen should be like the number 2 promotion. Financially.
I know exactly what you're talking about, Captain.
Yeah,
that was John Nash, the bloody elbow guy.
John Nash.
Had a Twitter, a tweet or a post on X, Twitter, whatever you want to call it, saying that monetarily, at the Epic Rising has established itself as a pay-per-view entity where they are monetarily the number 2 organization in the world right now because of their pay-per-view and attendance. Nobody else is getting pay-per-view numbers like them besides the UFC, obviously. So that's what Captain's talking about. It was a John Nash tweet.
Yeah, and I feel like, you know, it's really shown in the product this year. They've been doing sellout crowds. They've been putting on really good fights. And like you were saying about foreigners, it's really become more of a Japanese-focused product, I feel. And, you know, we can have our debates on whether or not, like, more foreigners in Ryzen is good or not. But honestly, I felt like it was a fantastic year. There was a ton of highs. My favorite card of the year was probably Ryzen 43. It was an incredible hot streak because we had that, and then we had Super Ryzen the next month. We had Old Man Kanehara getting his title shot. Like, that was fantastic. We had a bit of a dip in October, but ultimately, I think we really finished the year out strong with Landmark 7 and Suzuki finally breaking through. And then New Year's, honestly, that was one of if not the best MMA cards that I've had the pleasure of watching live with all you guys in the chat. Yeah, no, I thought it was a fantastic year, really, in review. I know, we tend to get a little pessimistic in the off periods between cards, but I thought they finished really strong, and I honestly can't wait to see what they do in 2024 with all this goodwill built up.
Exactly. Now, I'm not going to basically give you the full rundown of the results on each card, because let's face it, we're here for a good time, not a long time, and that shit would be a long-ass time to go through. I'm going to just go ahead and give y'all the Clip Notes version of these cards, the abridged version, so to speak. First of all, Rising 41 happened April Fool's Day. April Fool's Day in Osaka. The main highlight of the card was Vugar Kharlamov submitting Yoshinori Horie and Ryusei Catfish Ashizawa, defeating Koji Tanaka in a fight that pretty much have been long awaited. But when it came down to this fight card, I mean, the main thing I can ask, aside from is Ashizawa a hard sell, because to me he's nothing more but a Roy Jones Jr. wannabe. But still, though, when you think about this card and the fights that were booked for it, what were y'all overall opinions of this fight card, especially with the main event being Ashizawa versus Koji?
Oh,
Jay,
you want me to go first?
I mean,
yeah.
it happened. You can go first.
Okay. Well, honestly, I thought 41 was a little bit of not a damper, but it was definitely not the best way to start off the year. I think Catfish is kind of amusing, but the whole build up with Koji, I feel like just the fight didn't match the build up essentially. What I did enjoy about the card though was it gave me a couple different guys to keep an eye on. Miman Mamedov knocking out Yusaku Nakamura, and then the Red Horse Kyung Pyo Kim subbing Sho Patrick. Gave me a few guys to keep an eye on, and I feel like that was a good decision too, considering that Miman is now like a big part of their Azerbaijani push, and excuse me, Kim is now going to be fighting in. Let's see. Is he booked at all in the next few months?
I mean, I don't think he is.
Remains to be seen, hopefully. But another contender at lightweight that I thought would be pretty interesting to watch. And then also, Kyohei Hagiwara showed that he could go 3 rounds with a grappler and not get submitted. So, it's always gives us something to think about with his fight with Koji Takeda coming up.
I see. And right on cue, the native of Cleveland, Ohio, Michael Soulsuits is on. I mean, Michael, huh?
Soltez.
Oh, right, Soltez, right. I mean, my pronunciation skills are pretty much horrible when it comes down to names like yours. But still, though, we're just basically kicking off the Rising review portion of this podcast. I mean, what were your overall thoughts about Rising 41 to kick things off?
Rising 41. Forgive me. Honestly, I'm having a brain fart as far as like what was on that card. Is that the one in Osaka?
Yeah, it was the one in Osaka with Ryusei Ashizawa main eventing against Koji, and before that, Vugar Kharlamov submitting Yoshinori Horie.
It's a decent card. I was surprised that Ashizawa won starters at that time. That started Karamov's run to the title. or got him the title shot, I should say. And other than that, it was a pretty nondescript show, as I recall.
I see. And I mean, to be honest, were there any other highlights you thought of that show other than those two fights?
I would have to look and see what the card was. Again, honestly, it's been almost a year, so like I said, it's kind of nondescript.
Understood. Now, J Wolf, what were your overall thoughts about this particular card kicking off the year last year?
You know what? You know what it was is that it was like just finally, because we had to wait 4 months or 3 months, whatever, 3 months, 29 days, 31 days, whatever, to finally get an Epic Rising card again. That was the longest we ever had to wait to get from the New Year's Eve Omega event to the start of the new year. It was almost 4 months, and it just was excruciating to wait that long for the Rising. And I remember after the card, we were just like, please don't ever do that to us again. And thankfully this year they're starting right away in February, so that's a good. I mean, I'm pretty happy about that. But for that card, I mean, it was cool. I mean, it had some good bright spots and everything, but like I said, it just my main takeaway from that was that it just took forever. It seemed like I mean, I did not like waiting that long for the Epic Rising to start their year. So, but hey, when they got started though, they got it rolling, and like we were saying in the intro, 2023 was a really stellar year for them. Really, I mean, international expansion, and catering to the Japanese audience at the same time. It just pumping their numbers up, getting fantastic numbers, everything. Just, I mean, it had everything in 2023. It was fantastic. Only thing we're missing was a Grand Prix. That was one of the only years I can remember that there was no Grand Prix.
Talk more about that as this whole damn thing progresses.
Okay.
When it comes down to Rising Landmark 5, obviously it was at the Yoyogi National Gymnasium. It took place about 4 weeks after, no, a little over 4 weeks after the first Rising card of the year at the Yoyogi National Gymnasium, and it featured it featured 3 main fights that took up the precipice of the card. Shinobu Ota proving that Olympians can have hands too, knocking Kuramoto. Yutaka Saito defeating Ren Hiramoto and downing his MMA record. And Mikuru Asakura defeating Juntaro Ushiku. But you also had Luis Chavo fighting in a fight. You had Kana Asakura defeat V. Hajime, Mei Yamaguchi. And you had Claire Lopez get her big submission. And aside from Claire Lopez getting her big submission win that catapulted her to title contention, you also had Tsuyoshi Sudario beating up Rocky Martinez among the results. So I gotta ask, what did you remember from that Rising Landmark 5 card that made things feel like they were worth watching?
Who do you want to go first?
I mean, come to think of it, I'll save you for last, Jay.
Okay.
I know that you like to take forever when it comes down to saying.
You know me, I can talk for hours on everything.
Yeah, I know. Mike, you go first.
I will. I gotta hurry because I gotta leave soon, but I'll keep it brief. Landmark 5 was a decent card. Those 3 main events, or the 2 main events, Asakura and Ushiku and Ren and Saito sucked. They were boring.
Aww.
I thought the person that really stood out to me besides Ota was Abdul Kalikov.
Oh, right, because he basically kicked off the show with a knockout win over Tetsuya Saika.
Yeah, that was brutal. And it shows to me that Kawajiri just caught him on a bad night all those years ago.
Exactly. I mean, come to think of it, do you think that Abdul Kalikov has what it takes to be a future star?
Yes, I do. I think he can beat Satoshi.
I mean, come to think of it, you think he can beat who?
Satoshi.
Oh, right. Yamasu, Dominator Yamasu.
No, Satoshi Siza.
Oh, fuck. Right. Of course.
I believe he's a lightweight, and if he kept it standing with the power he showed and the stand-up skills, Satoshi would be in for a tough night if he couldn't get him to the ground.
Right, of course. And Captain, what were your thoughts overall about Rizin Landmark 5?
Well, I will agree with Mike. The main and the co-main it was painful. Like, honestly, we wouldn't be hating on it that much if at least one of those fights wasn't as bad as it was. It was a good card up until the co-main. Like, there's a lot. You had the Abdul Kalikov fight, knocking it off. You had Old Man Kanehara getting it done. Scenario going 3 rounds. Ken Asakura getting back in win column, and then Gustavo versus Takeda, which was a pretty good fight. Like, that was good. And then I'm a fan of Oda. It was just those last two. If one of them had been good, I don't think we'd be being as harsh. And really, the way that I remember it is it just being so disappointing for what it was, because it was a good card on paper. Almost got there and delivered. It was so close.
I see. And I mean, come to think of it, would you think that if the fight card was revised a little bit, that it would have been better, especially for the 3 main fights?
I feel like I don't think Mikuru should have fought Ushiku. I thought they were doing that to like just complete the round robin that those like 3 or 4 guys at the top of featherweight had been doing. If they had him fight anyone else, I know Ren was probably too early to pull the trigger on, but if they had him fight Ren for that, I feel like that would have done a lot better. It just seemed that, at least to me, from what I remember being pretty confused by the booking. It seemed like a lateral move.
I see. And Jay, your thoughts about Rizin Landmark 5?
You know, I agree a lot with Captain. I mean, it was a fantastic show up until the co-main and main. They kind of, let us down with a little bit of, kind of decisions, whatever. But the rest of the card was sensational. It was on its way to being a card of the year. And I totally agree with Captain that if one of the 2 co-main or main had delivered, it would have been in the card of the year candidate. In the running for card of the year, basically, it would have been at least a candidate. But I personally, I try to forget that card, even though it was a cage event. I love the superior rule set in the cage, but Claire Lopez submitting my girl Reina, I mean, that was, I don't even want to think about that anymore. That was devastating to me. I wanted Reina to win so badly and get another title shot. I mean, but hey, big ups to Claire Lopez. That was sensational. Even though we were trying to talk a little bit of trash and say, hey, she had her toes in the cage to help her with that submission, so we're trying to nullify it. But no, she got Reina fair and square with a fantastic knee bar, and it just, it was devastating. But that was definitely the most memorable thing of that event for me. What was that? And it was just like, I want to just erase that from my memory. Like, that didn't happen. Reina's still, she hasn't lost yet. No, but also on what Captain was saying about Mikuru and Hiramoto, that's what they were. That's the big super fight that they were trying to build towards, and I believe that they've done that now to where I'm sure we'll get to it on the Rizin 45, but this New Year's Eve that just happened. Because Hiramoto and Yaman put on a fight of the year candidate, and it was the people's main event, everything, and delivered the goods. And I believe personally that they're going to match up Mikuru and Hiramoto this year, either the Super Rizin event in the summertime, because that's a blockbuster super fight for the Japanese fans. They're going to absolutely love that. So it's going to be a headliner, everything. That's going to sell out. So that's going to be a definite headliner this year. So, but I think that's why they didn't do that last year, is because they were trying to build into it. So that's why. And plus, Ushiku was former champ, or was he champ at the time still, or was he former champ? I can't remember right now. He was former. Okay, that's why. See, they're trying to get Mikuru to beat a former champion to get the momentum towards the build towards the Ren Hiramoto match, just to try to build it up. So, but yeah, I mean, dude, it was a great event. Just the co-main and main didn't deliver. Plus, our girl Reina got submitted. So that takes down the running for event of the year candidate.
Well, come to think of it, you can believe all the revisionist history you want about Reina. All I know is, thankfully you're going to see her again in another fight.
Absolutely. Yeah, she's coming up here. And also, Claire Lopez has got another fight as well. Is she on the 24th card? Hold on one second. Let me see here. I don't think Claire Lopez is on this one. She might be on the other one. Yeah, it looks like she's on the March card. Oh, no, she is on this card. Mm-hmm. Yeah, Claire Lopez is fighting Ayaka Hamasaki on this card coming up here in February 2024. So, I mean, that's, it's good to see her become a staple of Rizin, as a foreign fighter that keeps showing up. But, man, that was, as a super fan of Reina, that was devastating to see that. So, but hey, big ups to her. And now she's in another high-profile fight against Ayaka Hamasaki on the 24th here. So that's going to be a banger. I can't wait to see that. And is that kicking off the main card?
I mean, we don't know yet because they haven't put the fight card order. And by the way, Michael had to leave us because he has some things to do. But it's okay. No harm, no foul.
Yeah, glad he got to show up for a little bit. So let's keep the card rolling. I mean, I'm itching to get to the 2024 stuff and predictions. So I want to get.
Okay, but first off, let's go ahead and talk about Rizin 43. And I know that we can talk about a lot of things on this card from start to finish, especially considering the fact that the last 5 fights ended in a finish. But the main thing that's worth talking about is obviously the main thing that couldn't be ignored, and that was Kleber Koike Herbst missing weight against eventual future Rizin Featherweight champion Chihiro Suzuki. I mean, do you think that kind of put a damper? I mean, let's just face it. Between this card and Rizin 45 that happened on New Year's Eve with Juan Archuleta missing weight, missed weight in main events or co-main events has really put a damper on future Rizin cards. But do you think that when it comes to Kleber Koike Herbst, he really screwed the pooch on this opportunity?
Oh, yeah, cost him the title and everything. And they don't mess around with weight misses in Japan. You miss weight, you get a automatic yellow card. You lose a title. You get fined. I mean, everything. And even if you win, it's considered a no contest because they do not mess around with the weight misses over there in Japan. So, and I actually like it. I don't think it takes away them being that harsh on weight misses. I think it makes up for whatever it takes away that they did miss weight. I think it just, and as we saw from New Year's Eve with Juan, it lit a fire under his butt and made him fight even harder. So, I mean, it just, and probably the same thing with Kleber. He was like, man, okay, I have got to finish this guy. Otherwise, it's going to be, for sure, no contest or a loss. So I just love the way that the Japanese handle weight misses. I think that should be universal throughout the world. And a lot less guys would be, and ladies would be missing weight if they handle it like Japan, because that was the only one that missed weight on that card. Same thing with Juan on New Year's Eve, the only one, because everybody knows that you got to come on weight for when you fight in Japan. Otherwise, the penalties are huge. They expect professionalism when you're fighting in Japan. So, but if you want to talk about the overall for that 43 card, it was an event of the year candidate. It was absolutely sensational. One of the best cards of the year. The only card that I think was better was New Year's Eve 45. I mean, it was that good. It was a lot of fun. Like you were saying, the entire the latter half of the card was all finishes. Was that the one where was that the first one where Joji Goto got the twister? Yes. Was that on that card too?
Yeah, I mean,
yeah. So there was sensational finishes all up and down that card. I mean, it was a lot of fun. Just a lot of fun. That's if you want me to describe what that card was, 43 was fun. just, I mean, sensational Japanese mixed martial arts, pure rule set action. Just loved it from the Epic Rising. And you know, and you know, Kleber missing weight, he had to pay for it. And you know, and also, but you know what? That's it. To me, it's because it clearly gave him an advantage in the fight. You know, he wasn't as drained from the weight cut, obviously, so it probably gave him extra strength in the fight. And you know, he had the weight advantage over Chihiro, so it just gave him an advantage. That's why I'm telling you guys, I just love the way the Japanese handle it. By, you know, they fine him, give him a yellow card, you know, just and strip him of the title, all that stuff. Just, man, make it no contest no matter what. Man, just kudos to the Japanese. They really know how to do it.
Okay, and what say you? I mean, what say you, Captain?
Yeah, 43, honestly, I think about it a lot. This is probably my card of the year for 2023. It had everything you could have possibly asked for in a Ryzen event, let alone a JMMA event. You had scarf hold, arm locks, twisters, flying knees, brutal knockouts, just the whole suite of superior rule set violence. And then really the main event, in, I guess, storyline wise, it worked out really well for Suzuki, for Kleber to not make weight, because, you know, that set off the domino effect of him winning the belt at Landmark 7 in November. But then you got to feel for Kleber too, considering that he is now he's on the road back to the title, essentially, that he lost on the scale. And it just, for those kind of you know, consequences, just the action, it was really you couldn't ask for anything else on a card like this. You really couldn't. Almost every single fight delivered. The decisions were exciting. The plethora of violence and ridiculous stuff that happened on it. It really was a card of the year, and probably my favorite of last year, honestly.
Well said.
I see. Now we go from talking about weight misses to something that was pretty much worth watching throughout the year, and that was Super Rising 2. And obviously, I know that you're going to be all on it, you know, white on rice, so to speak, Jay Whoop, so I'll save you for a second. But when it comes down to Super Rising 2, and Captain, I'll start with you. I mean, considering the fact that this, I guess you could pretty much say, is the last time that we'll ever see Bellator involvement, not just on a Japanese MMA card, but on a card that's not owned by them. I mean, come to think of it, what hurt most? The fact that what hurt most on this card? The fact that Chihiro Suzuki knocked out Patricio Pitbull, or the fact that Kyoji Horiguchi versus Makoto Shinryu Takahashi ended in a no contest?
Well, I gotta say, I think Suzuki blanking Pitbull was probably one of my favorite, funniest, just absurd moments of the last year. I really enjoyed that. It was a horrible, horrible booking choice for Pitbull. He should have not done that. But, you know, I'm going to remember that for a while. That was amazing. But Shinryu Kyoji ending in a eye poke no contest in, what was it, the first 30 seconds was horrible. It was horrible. You know, Bellator's no longer Bellator, but it's just I hate that we joke so much about the Bellator curse, and then it just manifests into reality to screw us over in the worst possible ways. Because, I mean, we saw it in December. That was a really good fight, and probably would have been the same quality if we had seen it in July, but it sucked because it got shut out right out of the gate, and that's what it ended on. That's not what it ended on. And then we had the sacrificing of Satoshi to Patricky Pitbull immediately after. It was pretty rough. I'm very glad the rest of the card went the way it did. But yeah, Kyoji versus Shinryu Ipoke was not fun at all to witness, and even worse to see live.
I see. And I mean, come to think of it, that's why I basically said that the first fight between Shinryu and Kyoji was the worst fight of the year by far. I mean, you can't get any bad than a eye poke ending a fight in 28 seconds. I mean, that much is for sure. Now,
especially for such stakes, too. Opening a new division, belt on the line.
Yeah, but on the bright side of it, and we'll get to it in a little bit, what was Bellator's loss is now Rizin's gain. Now,
True.
Jay Wolf, when it comes down to the card as a whole, I mean, I know you enjoyed the epic Bellator Rizin crossover, even though it's the second and last time we'll get the chance to see it. But considering the rest of the card, especially considering that Juan Archuleta, especially considering that Seiki Izawa retained her women's atomweight title against Claire Lopez, who really, and I hate to basically say this, even though I enjoy watching her compete so much, but she had no business being in that ring with her. I mean, you had Juan Archuleta, who had no promotion at all, fighting Hiromasa Ogikubo when it was supposed to be him versus Kai Asakura. And then you had Rugar Kharlamov submitting Mikuru Asakura to become the fourth, I think, Rizin featherweight champion. I mean, you gotta ask, were the 3 fights at the end better than the rest of the card in general, especially the Bellator portion?
No, I don't think so. And Claire Lopez, she earned her shot by submitting Reina, so that's why she was in there. But
I get that.
But also you're forgetting one thing, major also thing that happened with the Bellator curse, which, by the way, Captain, we exercised. The Bellator curse is gone. So we did that on the We Are Rising podcast show. So there is no more Bellator curse, especially when it comes to the Epic Rizin and collaboration super fights. And this was, Jay Krish, it was only the last for the Scotty Cokes era, for the Scott Coker era of Bellator. Don Davis said that he was going to continue doing collaboration with Rizin, especially for New Year's Eve events, right? That's what he stated that, in a presser last year when he was talking about, when he actually bought out Bellator and made the purchase final. That was one of the questions that was asked to him about what's going to happen with with the collaboration with Rizin. He said, "Oh, we're still open to that. We'll talk about that, and for sure on New Year's Eve events." So, still looking forward to seeing that. And also, Sakaki Bara-san, he is in America right now. Yeah, and there's going to be a presser for Bellator, for PF Bellator, happening this Monday. Who knows if he's going to be there or not? I mean, that would be awesome. Maybe we're going to get some more collaboration. Maybe they're going to send some fighters over. So, no, this Super Rizin 2 event for 2023 was not the last collaboration with Bellator or PF Bellator, whatever you want to call it. It was just for the Scotty Cokes era. That's a Bellator. That's what the last one was. And also, you're forgetting one of the main things that happened. All those things you talk about happening, where Satoshi. The reason that Satoshi had to be plugged in to fight Patricky is because AJ McKee was supposed to fight Patricky Pitbull and got freaking staph infection the week before the fight and had to pull out with just a staph infection out of nowhere. I mean, talk about bad luck. And that is one of the reasons why, Captain, that Patricio Pitbull stepped up. To him and Chihiro really stepped up to help save that card, because all the kind of bad luck stuff that was happening was all saved and nullified by that Chihiro versus Patricio Pitbull last minute matchup that was announced. Because that, to me, that and everybody actually, if you remember, online, they were like, man, this really adds a great super fight to the card. So, and it was a Bellator collaboration bout, obviously, and just. Man, it was, but nobody gave Chihiro a chance. That's another reason why Patricio took that fight. He was trying to help Sakaki Bara-san and Rizin to save the card from all the bad luck that was happening. And he was like, man, hey, this is – but we were trying to tell him, we're like, dude, you cannot underestimate this kid. Chihiro Suzuki, he was at the time, he was still and he still is right now. He's the reigning knockout black champion. And I forget what the difference is. There's like knockout black and knockout
Black is pure kickboxing rules.
Yes.
Well, actually, yeah, knockout black is pure kickboxing rules. Knockout red is Muay Thai rules.
Yes, thank you. And they also have now Knockout Unlimited, where you can do some ground and pound, soccer kick, superior rule set, all that good stuff. So it's pretty awesome promotion. But Chihiro Suzuki was the reigning knockout black champion. And we were trying to tell Patricio, like, hey, you cannot underestimate this kid. This kid knows how to strike. He is a dangerous fighter, man, and he's coming in there with nothing to lose. You better take him seriously. And, man, dude, and the knockout was sensational. The captain was saying it was hilarious because go watch it. Patricio Pitbull, as he gets knocked out, his head bounces off every single rope on the way down. It was a sensational knockout. Man, it was so good. I mean, and then, both the fights that fell off too about Kaya Sakura got injured, and then the eye poke and Gucci and Shinryu, both those bouts were rescheduled for the end of the year for New Year's Eve, and they really made the New Year's Eve Rising 45 just sensational. So just because it kind of ruined the Super Rising 2 event, it provided a sensational main and co-main for the New Year's Eve collaboration mega event. So, like you were saying, Jay Chris, the loss for that Super Rising 2 event was the gain for the New Year's Eve collaboration mega event. So, and also there was still some great action on that card, but just, I mean, all those, crazy, at the time when the Bellator curse was still happening, that really, I mean, if it wasn't for that Patricio and Chihiro which to me was a knockout of the year, if not the knockout of the year. It was for sure a candidate, but it was a knockout of the year candidate, and it was just absolutely sensational. That, to me, just saved the card. And like Captain said, man, you'll never forget that. That was like just an all-timer KO right there, especially for Chihiro. That's what got him the title shot, everything. So, I mean, it was even despite all that, it was a really fun show. And the collaboration continued afterwards. So it was, man, and I can't wait to see what's going to continue in 2024, which I believe it will. So, but yeah, it was, man, you know me, I love those collaborations, super fights and super cards. It was just, even with all the bad luck that happened, it still was awesome. So yeah, that's what I think about that Super Rising 2. I can't wait for another one.
Yeah, of course, especially considering the possibilities of what may happen with that. I mean, with Super Rising next year. Now, when it comes down to Rising 44, which took place on September 24th, obviously Kleber was trying to bounce back from his weight miss, but ended up losing to now, I guess you could say, featherweight championship contender Masanori Kanehara. But in addition to that, you also had Shintaro Ushiku defeating Kyohei Hagiwara in the battle of the first and third Rising featherweight champions. You had Yoshinori Horie beating up Spike Carlisle, who really popped my attention when he came out to not just some Hikaru Utada, but also Final Fantasy. Well, yeah, Final Fantasy Kingdom Hearts get up, I guess. I don't know. It was probably Kingdom Hearts. But still, though. You had the emergence of guys like Rukia Ampo and Ryuya Fukuda. You had Taichi Nakajima getting a win. You had Urson getting screwed over on the date of the anniversary of his uncle's passing. And you also had Shoma Shibisai beating a careless Yano Stukas. And a new star in Ramazanbek Timirov knocking out Takaki Soya. So, first Captain, then J Wolf. What were y'all overall thoughts about Rising 44? And did y'all think that, Kleber may have gotten the worst out of the last time he fought when he missed weight?
I think this was the first card that I previewed with you guys, and from what I remember, I think it was a solid card. I think the Jorge and Carlisle fight definitely saved it for me. That was a fantastic lightweight fight and Jorge's move up. And then, the Yanosukas heel hook loss was very funny. It's always entertaining seeing guys above 200 pounds pull off heel hooks. But yeah, no, it was a solid card. It had some interesting fights on it, which was what I appreciated it for. Especially the Rukia Ampo and Sho Patrick Usami kickboxing fight. That was a real striker's delight, or however you want to put it. But ultimately, my main focus on the event and what I'm going to remember it for was Masanori Kanehara at the age of 40, coming out and beating the former champ emphatically, outstruck him, took him down, sat there in his guard, throwing hammers, not getting submitted. It was a fantastic fight, and it made me really happy for Kanehara, considering he got his shot. He came back out of retirement, and he's fighting for the belt in April or May, I want to say. And it was just a really feel-good veteran run to the title moment, especially for Japanese MMA legend like Kanehara, who's been in it for so long.
I see. And Jay Wolf, what about you?
Well, I'm in complete agreement with Captain. Very well said. And yeah, that was totally the most memorable thing for me was Kanehara whooping up Kleber in just convincing fashion, earning that title shot. And Captain, it's at the end of May. I mean, excuse me, at the end of April. It's like April 25th or something like that, or 24th, something like that. So it's at the very end of April. And it was supposed to be on May 6th, right? But it was bumped up to like April 29th or something like that, or 24th, something like that. So it's the last week of April, and it's going to be on like a Monday. And remember, that's the one where you're going to take that work day off. So
that's going to be a struggle.
I know, right? Because we have to here in America, we got to stay up on Sunday night to watch that one. So you got to remember to take that Monday off on. I think it's either the 29th or 26th or something like that, and it's on a Monday. So we have to stay up Sunday night. So just remember, everybody listening, you got to put in right now for your work to get a vacation day for that Monday. But I mean, it was just amazing that Kanehara, just the veteran, just totally just defeated Kleber in convincing fashion, like Captain was saying. It's absolutely sensational. I mean, I loved it. I thought I was so happy for him, and I'm so glad he's getting the title shot against Chihiro. And also, was 44 the one with Yaman on it, or was that 42?
That was 42. Yes.
Okay.
Rising 44 didn't feature Yaman on it.
Okay, my bad. Then I should have said when we were talking about 42 about Yaman, because to me that was the walkout of the year, because he had that sensational badass techno house song in the background while he had the dancing girls out there waving the flags that say Yaman on it. They were dancing their skimpy outfits and stuff to a banger track. And then it goes into the Black Eyed Peas song that Yaman is known for now, and that was really a walkout of the year for me. Even though probably the Rising 45 New Year's Eve show, he probably had a better walkout because they were like full on Vegas showgirls. So, hey, we got another Mizzou from Poland. What's up, brother? How you doing?
It's like first a.m. in the morning, and I was like, hey, maybe I'll check out you guys, and we'll just say. Was there ever a bad Yaman entrance? Come on, Jay.
No. I was saying that's why Yaman, to me, it was the walkout of the year. That's why I wanted to make sure to mention it. But it was at 42, not 44. But right now we're going through we're reviewing the 2023 events, and then we're going to get into the preview of what we think is going to happen for 2024 here coming up pretty soon. So we're just finishing up right now. We're finishing up Rising 44. And if you want to say something about 44, go ahead. I was agreeing with Cap and saying that Kanehara was the best. One of the bright spots. Him and Hori basically were sensational on that card. So.
Okay, about 44, then I need to say that I'm proud that I advised everyone in Poland to not sleep on Kanehara because he was for me a black dog in this, in this fight. I seen Kleber fights live because he was fighting in KSW in Poland, so I was very aware what Kleber is capable of and what are what in his fighting style is not evolving in years, because Kleber has evolved in some ways, especially his jiu-jitsu is now way more slick than ever, but he's still making the same mistakes. He's still moving in one line in stand-up. He's still having this very awkward guard, stuff. So I seen how Kanehara could make him the same problems that Gamrot made in 2019, it was, I believe, or 2018. I don't remember what was the Gamrot fight. But I seen that with how Kanehara is fighting, I seen that he could give him a lot of troubles. So yeah, I'm proud I told everyone, skip this fight, guys, skip this fight. And if I'm looking at Topology because I totally forgot. Oh yeah, Temirov KO, it was sick. I remember.
That it was, Yannick. That it was. And I mean,
But was that Temirov's debut?
Yeah, it was his debut.
Okay, yeah, that's another important one for 44 because he is a definite emerging contender for the flyweight belt. So, and that was another thing that was taken from us from the Super Ryzen 2 card too, was if that flyweight title was going to be decided on there, potentially we were going to get the flyweight Grand Prix happening towards the end of the year of 2023 as well, and now that's potentially delayed. Hopefully, going to be happening in 2024. But we'll get to that when we get to the preview of 2024 happening here.
And also about 44, I need to say my favorite story of the year: Todd Duffy losing visa from the passport. Someone is stealing it. Sorry, it killed me when I first heard the story. That he had a passport, someone stole visa from it. Dude, come on, no. It's so these are the main points from Rising 44 I will remember mostly. And yeah, are we moving backwards or forward?
Yeah, no, we're going forward. Next is Landmark 6, right? Or 7?
Yeah, let's go ahead and talk about Rising Landmark 6. And this card was a hell of a lot of fun for me to stay up and watch, especially in the United States and the Central Time Zone, especially considering the fact that it's seen the Rising debut of Viktor Kolesnik, former M1 Global World Title Challenger who lost twice to Nate Landwehr, who's now in the UFC. You had Rogelio Bontorin getting his win back after losing the previous New Year's Eve. You had the Kaiju Killer, Hidetaka Arato, knocking out Taka Kenshin and making him a lovable loser for obvious reasons. But then you get up the card and you've seen Igor Tanabe get a submission win over Animal Coach Ishikawa. Then you go farther up the card and you see Yoshi Sudario knock out a middleweight. And then, for some odd reason, you had Masamisu Shoko Sato defeating Shinobu Ota in a mild upset. And then you also had Alan Yoshihiro Yamaniha defeating the janitor Hideo Tokoro, the human octopus. So, from you guys' perspective, and also Machi Fukuda claiming that she wants a strawweight division in Rising. But first off, Captain, then Yannick, then Jay, what were y'all overall thoughts about Rising Landmark 6 from a fighter perspective? From a fight perspective.
From a fight perspective, unfortunately, I don't remember the main card being very entertaining. I believe I watched half of it live and then I caught the replay for the rest of it. Again, for me, this was more of a card to put some tabs down on some guys to look into their future. Viktor Kolesnik, as you were saying, he dropped back to featherweight from lightweight, and I think he's definitely going to be a problem if he's able to fight there consistently for Suzuki or Kanehara, whoever is going to be champ in the future. He's a fantastic striker. And then, of course, Fat Ninja, Igor Tanabe, subbing Animal Koji. It's always good seeing him fight. He's got beautiful jiu-jitsu, and I just hope that keeps him in the running at welterweight, middleweight, whatever they want to do at Rizin. For the rest of the card, for me, I was kind of so-so. There's some good finishes, but for me, it was kind of a middling event, and the things that I took away from it were more of individual fighters that I want to see more of, than I want to see fight higher up. And really, the only other issue I had with it was them booking Oda against Shoko Sato. I get what they were trying to do, but it was one of those cases where it was a booking backfiring of a guy with at least 30-something fights fighting Ota, who has only been doing MMA for what 4 years now.
Yeah, you can say 4 years now, because he was supposed to get off into like going to represent Japan in the Olympics, which was postponed due to the pandemic. But also, I mean, what I was most surprised of was the return of Top Noi Kieran Lucky Left, especially considering that he was big and popular off of the Road to UFC tournament.
And he fought, was it Yuki Ito?
Yeah, he fought and lost via split decision to Yuki Ito.
Yeah, I remember that fight being a lot closer than, at least now I think it was a lot closer than I thought at the time. But I think there was definitely an argument for Top Point winning it, I thought.
Understood.
But anyways, I digress. Take it away, fellas.
Yannick, you want to go ahead and give your thoughts about Rizin Landmark 6?
Yeah, I mean, what my previous speaker said, like, about not remembering this one, I mean, yeah, it was pretty forgettable event, which is very strange, because on paper it has a lot of, it was like one of those cards, and like there's no much big names in terms of international audience, but if you went deep dive into it, you were like, oh, this card has a lot of violence potential, a lot of good fighters be there, and making some like statements, some like very entertaining fights. And then the card actually happens, and you're like, what? That's it? Like, yeah, I mean, for example, Igor Tanabe, Koji Shikuwa, Igor Triangle was like, okay, I guess there was nothing big about it. Same goes for Bontori Muramoto. It was pretty forgettable fight. I believe Kolesnik won the fight mostly on leg kicks, because I remember one of his fights was mostly leg kicks, and I believe it was it, but I might be misremembering right now. And for all, the Shinobu Ota, it was supposed to be only a step towards this title competition in 2024, because we all seen him what he did to Kuramoto, and we were like, whoa, another big talent in the making, big star, and so on. And after this event, we were like, okay, that it happened, but man. To be honest, I looked at my Twitter, what I tweeted during the event, and the biggest like applause of this fight was from this fight night was like my tweet that, hey, the Dong Wan Lim, who came in as short replacement, is entering to Jose Aldo song. So it was like the most the thing that took the most attention from the event. And sorry, but if Rizin event, most entertaining things, I don't see also any superior rule set reminder. So yeah, this is also something that it's outstanding from that event. So yeah, pretty forgettable event, and I'm really sad that happened, because on paper it had a lot of potential.
I mean, you could say it's a pretty forgettable event. I mean, all I was really mesmerized about outside of Top Noi Kieran Lucky Left returning was the fact that Igor Tanabe got another first round submission, and Joji Goto got another twister submission finish. Now, Jay Wolf, when it comes down to the submission finishes that I just mentioned, were those some of the highlights of this low-life card, in your opinion?
I mean, it wasn't that bad. Like you're saying, Joji Goto got the second submission of the second twister of the year. Back-to-back twisters. That was definitely probably one of the high points. Him and Kolesnik, I think. But like Yannick was saying, there was no superior rule set action on it. That's what the problem was. There was no pride rules, no superior rule set action that happened on it. And it was like a streak of cards that happened on 44. This one, Landmark 6, Landmark 7 didn't have that much either. Thank goodness that we got rid of the curse. To me, that was part of what the Bellator curse put, because that started at Super Rising 2, right? And thank goodness we exercised that on the We Are Rising podcast for the New Year's Eve show. And if you remember in this Landmark 6 event, the Kaiju Killer and Taka Kenshin, that fight to me, like, we're talking about, Joji Goto got a second twister, but obviously the clear-cut highlight of the whole card, because, first back-to-back twister. Has anybody else ever done that in MMA? No. So that was clearly what was the highlight of the card. Also, Kolesnik winning, establishing himself as a clear-cut, up-and-coming contender at featherweight, a new weight class for him. So that, to me, those were the two top points. But the Kaiju Killer upsetting Taka Kenshin, and that bout right there showed exactly why fighters have got to know the assignment. And what we mean when we say that fighters got to know the assignment means they got to know the superior rule set. They got to throw superior rule set, pride rule strikes, soccer kicks, stomps, ground at knees, ground up kicks, all 12-6 elbows, all the good stuff that we love about the Epic Rising. Because Taka Kenshin, he could have beat the Kaiju Killer. He had the Kaiju Killer down, and he was just punching him instead of throwing grounded knees and soccer kicks. And the ref was ready to finish it for that fight. And so, he did not know the assignment, and it cost him. And then Kaiju Killer got up and then came back to beat Taka Kenshin because he did not know the assignment and did not do superior rule set striking. So to me, that was also another highlight of that event, was that fight showing fighters, hey, you have got to know the assignment when you're in the Epic Rising Fighting Federation, and you better bring the superior rule set action, or it could cost you the fight.
I see. And come to think of it, I know that you like to say some fighters some fighters should know the assignment, but now we're going to go ahead and talk about Rising Landmark 7. You had 10 fights on the card, 6 of them ending in finishes, 4 in the first round. Every fight was more exciting than the last. But the more interesting one of those 10 fights was obviously Chihiro Suzuki getting that legendary up kick finish over Vugar Karamov, which only rivaled, and John Eck, you probably know where I'm going with this, the Krzysztof Glowacki fight that happened in KSW a couple of months prior. But to be honest...
Seen it live.
Nice.
Of course. But when you think about fights, especially when it came down to this particular fight card, it was the first Rising card outside of Japan, and I really hope for more international shows, even though they don't really have the budget, but it seems that Nobuyuki Sakakibara has the budget to go outside the country and, explore new places, like Miami, for instance. But still, though, first of all, and I'm going to get each one of y'all's thoughts, but when it comes down to more international shows, especially like the one that we had with Rising Landmark 7, should that be more of an occurrence, especially here in the States, where you got athletic commissions in Georgia and Colorado looking to be more lenient towards possibly Rising rules, even though they got that downed one championship doing events in their respective states later this year?
Okay, maybe I will start because I have thoughts about Chihiro Suzuki, because his knockout reminds me of Mamed Khalidov fight with Jorge Santiago in Sengoku, because it was literally the same. It was also knockout from the guard. Khalidov was down. Santiago was from above. Everyone was like, okay, so this is going to be till the end of the round. And then Khalidov making the punch. Santiago is out, and we are like, holy shit, Khalidov is now top 10 middleweight in the world, because that was the days, and I miss those times, when top 10 middleweights and top 10 in each category could have fighters outside from the UFC, and I miss those times a lot because it was like building our imagination like Hector Lombard in the UFC, Mehmet Khalidov, or fight between Mehmet Khalidov and Hector Lombard. I really miss those times when we were like, hey, who is the best? And yeah, I really miss those times, and Chihiro Suzuki reminded me about those. Regarding the international events, this is double-sided sword, because it's like the events that are outside of Japan, they need to analyze the markets there. And from what I could hear from Daniel, because Daniel was there in the area in Azerbaijan, the area was not so crowded. I mean, it was not as a big success as it could feel. Because, yeah, we are not going to ignore that we all want to see Rizin going to States or going to Europe to go there and, attend the events, see the superior set and so on and so on. But I need to remind you that Pride was lost after the 2 events in the States. So maybe we should calm down with that. But yeah, being serious, I'm all fine with that. But if this is, if they are not losing that much on those events, they are good to have there. Like UFC are having events in various places and losing money there, but be there just to show that they are like, the biggest league in the world. So they go to Korea, they go to Prague, they go everywhere, like, in the world, just to show their brand. I am fine with Rizin doing the same, but if they will not lose too much money on that, because I believe that this point with current how about this position on Rizin on international stage, there's no way to be on plus on such thing, but there's possibility to be on 0 on slight minus.
I see. Now, Captain, first off, what were your overall thoughts about Rizin Landmark 7 being the first foreign show for Rizin? And second of all, do you think that Rizin should do more shows outside of Japan, despite the fact that, some of these markets, they need to analyze a little bit more?
Yeah, this was, I hate to make a pun, but this really was a landmark moment for the promotion. Not only for their Japanese, not even for their just being outside of Japan for the first time, just having a foreign card in a foreign country made up mostly foreign fighters. It really was something out of the normal from their usual brand, and I thought it was a success. I thought it was the undercard I was so about, but I thought the main card, especially Chihiro, really made up for it. Chihiro Suzuki is blessed by something or someone to just keep on going on an upward trajectory in combat sports, and I'm all here for it. As far as more international events, I do agree that it is a double-edged sword. This was really, I don't think that it was important that whether or not they made money on it. I think it was important to show that if they could do it, and they did, and it seemed like a good, it ran smoothly as far as I could see. But I think as far going into other markets, like especially the United States, they do need to consider like what the attitudes are for it, if they can make money on it. Because as you were saying, lest we not remember what happened to Pride when they headed out to Vegas.
Of course. Or in case you want to go a little bit further back, you could also say the same thing for K1 Heroes when they had shows in Los Angeles and Seoul.
Yeah, but see, what you guys are missing here is that it was just recently revealed through the UFC lawsuit. Emails and stuff were leaked and revealed in that about what happened to Pride, the Almighty Pride FC, and why that happened. They were sabotaged, you guys. Dingleberry, Dana White, and the Frittata Dwarfs. That's what I like to call them because that's what the Reebok misspelled their names for that. So I'm talking about the Fertitas, but they spell it Frittata. So they're the Frittata Dwarfs to me, and they were so worried about Pride breaking in to the United States market and taking over that's why they sabotaged them and bought them out with the specific. It's all in the emails that was leaked. The specific purpose of shutting them down, and they even cheated to do that because there was other people that were going to buy them, and they had to rush and play. I mean, just shady with the rules to make it happen, to just buy them out and then shut them down on purpose. So Pride was sabotage, you guys, because they were being so successful breaking into the American market. Remember also, besides just doing those 2 shows in Vegas, they were also the first mixed martial arts promotion on Fox Sports. That's another little lost to history thing that people, unless you were there at the time, that's not even on the internet anymore. There was the almighty Pride FC Best of Pride, the original show, was on Fox Sports West with Jay Glazer and Frank Trigg, not Megan Olivier. That was the Zuffa version. There was a different version of that. I mean, they were breaking on. They were having the Best of Pride shows. They were having all. I mean, dude, they were breaking into the American market and scared the shit out of the UFC, the Zuffa people. They were scared shitless of them. That's why they sabotaged them. Anyways, so history lesson aside, Landmark 7 was sensational, international. The Epic Rising's first international event. Like Captain was saying, proved that they could do it. Took their show on the road. That it has a sensational show. And Yannick was saying, our friend Daniel Zubicki, the Polish correspondent, that sometimes a guest, the We Are Rising podcast and Focus Fights audio here, he was there live. And it was sensational. And Yannick, it was not that the crowd was not completely full. He said it was pretty full. It was that there was no merchandise. Remember, they didn't have any kind of like merchandise to sell. That was what was shocking about it. It was like, why would you go to a new market but not bring like T-shirts and stuff like that? Because that's one of the biggest, one of our, as international fans, is that they only offer Japanese size stuff. So, I'm a natural heavyweight. I can't even buy. I would be buying out the Ryzen store right now if they offered clothes in my size, So, but anyways, that's what Daniel Zubicki was talking about. The crowd was okay, but it was just that it was shocking that there was no merchandise sales and stuff like that. And also to the point you guys were making, Chihiro Suzuki was, just established himself as to me, a superstar, and especially for Japan, because that was absolutely sensational. Clear-cut knockout of the year candidate, if not the knockout of the year to win the title. And just, man, that just cherried that event as well. And also remember Tofik Musaya was on there as well. Another technically a collaboration event with Bellator, because Tofik Musaya is still ranked number 3 in Bellator's lightweight rankings right now. And he was the co-main event, put on sensational performance. So, there was a lot going on there. Like Captain was saying, there was only 2 Japanese fighters on there. The entire rest of the card was all international fighters.
Well, and, not just all international fighters, but all European fighters. Well, most
and when we get to the 2024 previews and predictions, there was some interviews where Sakaki Bara-san, he was talking about doing some more international shows this year, at least 2 more. And when we get to the preview portion, we'll tell you what those were. So, but yeah, the Landmark 7 sensational event. It was a total all-around success, and just proved that the Epic Rising could take their show on the road, and did it successfully. And I can't wait to see it happen again. And I want them to break into the American market as well. And like Jay Krish was saying, one championship has already started. The dominoes have already started to fall, and they got it. Their partial superior rule set of grounded knees and 12-6 elbows are now allowed in Colorado and Georgia. And Colorado the commissioner is on record tweeting on Twitter saying that he's open to the Epic Rising superior rule set. So I'm telling you guys, the future, it looks so bright. I could totally see the Epic Rising going there, and especially if Colorado will legalize and allow the full superior rule set of the Epic Rising. That would just, I would consider flying out there. I might just have to fly out there and for that show. That'd be so freaking fun.
Yeah,
so yeah, it was still awesome.
Thing though, you remember when Andrew Benjamin, was talking about this on the We Are Rising podcast? He basically said it was like watching. It was like if you introduced anybody in Europe to this particular card, they would immediately say it was something like an AMC Fight Nights card or Russian cage fighting card.
Yeah.
Rather than it was Rizin, so to speak, because you saw that they fought in a different style cage. You had all the entertainment and theatrics, even though we unfortunately couldn't see the intermission with Lloyd Banks performing because, reasons, even though it was at an early enough time for us all to watch it in the States, 7 a.m. Eastern, 4 a.m. Pacific. But still, though, I mean...
That's an interesting point, Jay Krish, because that is in the middle of the night in Japan. It was not on it. They did not delay it or anything for the Japanese time zone. They put it in the main time zone of Azerbaijan, which was the middle of the night to early morning for Japan. And for us, it was like the early morning time.
Well, it was early morning for you. It was a little bit after 6 or 7 a.m., as I said, for me. I mean, and I got up to watch it a little later.
Yeah, but I mean, for the Japanese audience, it was like in the middle of the night where they probably only got up to watch the main events to see Chihiro capture the title. So it was really interesting to see that they, because the UFC don't do that. The UFC delays it or puts it on in the middle of the night or whatever, so to cater to our time zones here in America. So it's really interesting to see the Rizin didn't do. They catered to the home country, the host country, Azerbaijan's time zone, and then just had I thought that was an interesting little tidbit about that show. So, but it was really, I thought it was a total success. So I can't wait for the next one. I loved it, especially because seeing the international fighters. I know you guys were saying it's like a Fight Nights Global or M1 card, but I mean, the more they put those on, they're going to get bigger fighters, international fighters as well. It's just going to get bigger and bigger. This was just like their first test run to see if they could do it. You know what I mean? So it was just, I thought it was sensational. I can't wait for the next one. Anyways, sorry, go ahead. I didn't mean to cut you off, Jay Krish. Just wanted to put that out there.
If I may just add to what Jay was saying about AMC card. You know what? This is what I was surprised about because this Azerbaijan is not a country that is well infiltrated by MMA. So the well-known fighters are of course, the Vugar, the Tofik, and so on. But there's it's not this country that is just making the steps. They are at the very beginning of their careers in MMA and so on. And there are a lot of unfiltered talents that are they're waiting for being in the spotlight. And I was like, hey, why not to make on low cost, because they are at the beginning of the career, some maybe tournament, because we see that in Tofik, Vugar, and even the other fighters that were there, that they have this spirit. This reminds me, when I was analyzing the stuff, this reminds me about the early 2000s in Europe, especially the East Europe, when there was this Bushido Litania events, so on, that we had a lot of fighters that were just fighting everywhere because there were nothing to fight, because there was no big league to fight. And Rizin coming there had the perfect opportunity to put this country in the spotlight. And maybe this was me having too much sorry, my Polish wanting to go on, but I was demanding too much maybe from Rizin there. But yeah, I was missing putting some of those lesser known fighters to the spotlight, like those. When I was looking at Tapology, a lot of fighters from Azerbaijan was 0-1, 1-0, 2-0. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it's because they wanted. Oh, sorry. Is it because they wanted Vugar? The show was focused around Vugar and Tofik. That was their big stars for Azerbaijan. They wanted to center the card on. That's why I think they didn't. They had the other guys were 0-0 and stuff. That's to me. That's what I was thinking they were doing. So it was if Vugar had won and beat Chihiro, that was going to be a huge story for Azerbaijan. So that's why I think that and also Tofik clearly was since Chihiro beat Vugar, Tofik was clearly the hometown hero, and just you heard the crowd roaring for Tofik when he won. So I don't know. Well, we'll see how the next international shows are, but that one was clearly for to showcase Tofik and Vugar. So they were the hometown heroes on that card.
Yeah, I can see that. I just mean I had some my own expectations, so it was like I was expecting something, and I'm a little disappointed. My prediction did not happen, but yeah, I mean the show was good. The show was good. I would not consider it the show of the year, but it was good. Had a lot of good actions, and also small thing. I still believe that Chihiro knocking out Pitbull is knockout of the year, mostly because of the impact of that win. Because holy shit, knocking out the arguably #1 featherweight in the world with 3 days notice, of being prepared for all the stuff that happened in Azerbaijan. But that's my opinion.
Yeah, no, that's a good one. Yeah, that's definitely a knockout of the year candidate, if not the knockout of the year for sure. And so was the Chihiro's knockout of Vugar with the up kick. That was also another candidate. It's back-to-back knockout of the year candidates for him. And also, that put him up to number 6 in the Fight Matrix rankings as well for Chihiro Suzuki. So that was another huge accomplishment that happened after Landmark 7. So, but hey, let's get to the New Year's Eve and finish up the review of 2023 so we can get on the 2024 previews and predictions.
Yeah, let's go ahead and talk about Rizin 45. I mean, obviously, take your pick on what we can talk about. We can talk about the first 4 fights that opened up the card. We can talk about the second set of 4 that really continued the card, especially with Igor Tanabe getting another first-round submission victory over Shinzo Dianamo Anzai. And obviously, Koji soccer-kicking Kota Miura. That was a cruel face. That was a cruel twist of irony, so to speak.
This was the biggest event in Rizin history because this was the first time they had 17 fights.
Yes.
It was long.
The third stanza featured the debut of Vince Morales in Rizin. John Dodson getting humbled, which is kind of ironic because all of his losses are via decision. And obviously you got Shinobu Ota knocking out Ryusei Catfish Ashizawa, Mikio Ueda knocking out Tsuyoshi Sudario, and Seiki Izawa retiring Miyu Yamamoto. And that was really sad to see. But then again, it was really fun to watch. But then, you got the final 4 fights. And obviously, each one of them were more entertaining than the last. Ren Hiramoto beating Yaman. Clever Koike Earp submitting Yutaka Saito. And finally, officially getting his lick back and potentially going into featherweight title contention. You got Juan Archuleta missing weight and being the second fighter in Rizin to miss weight this year, and the 4th or 5th fighter overall in the promotion's history to miss weight. But yeah, Jay Wolf said that Juan Archuleta fought a fun fight. I thought he was fighting like he wanted to take an L and just go because, of course, it was a lose-lose situation. And then you got Kyoji Horiguchi submitting Makoto Shinryu Takahashi to prove that experience trumps age regardless. But when you look at the entire fight card as a whole, not including Manny Pacquiao surprisingly making an appearance.
Second year in a row.
Yeah, talking about wanting Maypac 2. I mean, clock is ticking, Nobuyuki Sakakibara. Clock is ticking, Floyd Mayweather and the money team. Make that fight happen, or else we're moving on. But when you look at Rizin 45 as a whole, what stood out, and what did you think they needed to tone down on? Captain, you go first.
All right. And I do want to preface this with this will probably be my last entry. I got to head out after this, so I'll leave you guys to tackle the new year. But this was like, I guess to start, I think about a lot, like, MMA and just being a fan and like wondering like, the excitement's still there. But then like cards like these come along and it just makes you get the butterflies in your stomach all week. You're waiting to see it. And it's one of those fights one of those events where you don't really, well, I mean, for some of them, obviously, I'll get to that in a bit, but You just want to see the fights happen. You don't you just want to watch it all play out. And this was a big gamble from Rizin. 17 fights. I mean, how long was the broadcast for this one, Jay Krish? It was
think
hours?
It was somewhere in the neighborhood of about 7 hours.
Yeah.
Yes.
This was a monster of a card, but it had everything. Honestly, I know what you were saying about toning it down. I really think that they should not. I don't know. This card warranted 17 fights. I'm not sure about anything else. I would probably tone down on the bout limit, unless every New Year's Eve. But this had some fantastic fights on it from the opening bell. Ren Hiramoto's little brother getting it done. Tenshin's little brother getting it done. You had Suguru Ni ending a banger of a year. And then even then, the mid-card stuff with Fat Ninja, Yuta Kubo, Joe Arai, unfortunately coming back a little too quickly after his fight of the year with against Hiroya Kondo. It was a fantastic card. Every fight had something going into it. Every fight, I think, in my opinion, delivered. It was fantastic, and it really did. I know I've said this a few times. It really did leave me with a lot of optimism for the year ahead, and I really hope they can continue to hit these same highs for 2024 because this was a fantastic card.
Yeah, and also, Captain, before you leave, can you also give us some, a little bit of your predictions for 2024? Because on the talk up before the show started, you had some great points that you were talking about too. And then after that, then we'll let Yannick talk about his 45 thoughts, and then we'll get into the New Year's and stuff. So, but I just want to hear you talk about that before you leave it too, Captain, because like I said, before the show started, you had some great stuff you were talking about for the New Year's.
Well, I think what I was saying initially was that piggybacking off of what I just said. I think that Rizin's really taking the goodwill and the energy they've got from 45, and I think they're really putting it in for the first three cards. We're not waiting a few months to start the year off. There's a show in exactly 3 weeks from now, and the first main event is. Sorry, let me check Tapology. You have Gustavo versus Hori, and what I'm assuming is a lightweight title contender. That's a fantastic main event. Got some good fights on the undercard, and then it goes right into Landmark 9 and then 46 later on. And which leads me to my next point is that I think predictions-wise, I think we're going to see Rizin really start to lean more and expand on their Landmark series of shows. At least that's the kind of vibe I'm getting. I think they would really benefit from having their Landmark events, especially if they want to go international this year, and then stacking the numbered cards a bit more, which I think was the intention behind the what was Rizin 46 and is now Rizin Landmark 9. They're going to try and differentiate from the numbered and the Landmark series now, and I'm really interested to see where that goes. And then as far as wish list and stuff we have to see play out, I'm really interested in I know in the pre-show we were talking about the Rizin and Bare Knuckle FC deal, expedition, whatever you want to call it, and then just to see where Rizin lays in with the Bellator, PF Bellator, whatever you want to call it, plans. Overall, I think Rizin is in a really good position for 2024, and I'm really excited to see where it goes next. I can't wait for the upcoming cards, and I hope we can all just get some good fights and enjoy it.
Understood. Absolutely. And considering that you considering that you have to leave in a little bit, and I know I don't want to keep you too long, so if you want to exit after I say this, go ahead. But can you please give, where people can contact you?
Of course. Well, as you see here, you can find me on the We Are Rizin fans Discord server at any time. I'm just capping, and then on Twitter, I'm kind of on it every so often. But yeah, you can find me at Cap'n99. Shoot me a follow, shoot me a DM, talk about fights, what you agree with, disagree with. Yeah, it's all good. Just want to say thank you to everybody for having me. It was good seeing you guys. And hopefully we get some good fights at Landmark 8.
No problem.
Absolutely.
It's fun to have you here. Now,
yeah, great having you here, Captain. Later, brother.
Now, Yannick, considering the fact that you came in a little bit later, I mean, I gotta ask, what's your thoughts about Ryzen 45? I know you posted pictures about how, the superior rule set is better than the unified rules. I know what you are about. I don't need Daniel Dzubecki telling me, but what were your overall thoughts about Ryzen 45 as a whole?
I like it. Would I consider it the best New Year's Eve? Not really. I still believe that this first pandemic one was like the best Ryzen. This when Kyoji beat Kaya Sakura in the rematch, this was their best New Year's Eve in my opinion. But what I wanted to say, a lot of people was talking shit about this card, like a lot. I even made a thread in Polish and tagged you guys, I believe, to, hey, if you have time for Google Translate, please read it. Because a lot of people were like, oh, this card sucks, not a lot of names. And when we think about that, it was actually a big blow. This card was huge in like emotions and so on. Like I said, I had a lot of opportunity to make superior recent reminders because, like, come on, we had it from the very first fight of the Nasukawa brother. I believe Nasukawa brother had one of the better Ryzen debuts in, as far as I can remember, because he delivered. Of course, he had not that much of a challenge. Let's call it correctly. This was not this Korean guy was there just to be there, but still, the utilization of the rules, his defense of an Amber from the person who was doing kickboxing whole life. Trust me, I seen guys on the amateur level of MMA that were starting MMA, and they were still having problem with Amber defense. What I want to say is that many people are standing up and they are extending the arms, so they are making another weight to the armbar. And Ryujin was not making these issues. Just not making these mistakes, and this was very impressive. This is showing him having potential in learning in MMA. So this is something I remember, and this was huge, and I really enjoyed that. What I also remember about the card, that I won a lot of money because Ogi Kubo defeated Dodson. That was sweet. I was like, come on, guys, do not treat Dodson as such heavy favorite because Dodson in competition, Ogi Kubo is like huge jump in quality of fighters that Dodson faced in last fight. Come on, where is Tokoro? Where is Ogi Kubo? With our respect to Tokoro because he's great, but when we compare the two of them, then yeah, Ogi Kubo is like the guy that is more threat, and I was right, so I'm very happy about that. Of course, King Kyoji the first, making history as rising flyweight. Yeah, I really enjoyed the event. I really hoped that Ren Hiramoto would be not fighting smart, but fighting as a kickboxer, because we wasted potential of Yaman fight. And yeah, those are my thoughts on the go. I would need to open the topology for the more in details each fight and so on and so on. Oh, and Cozy making the history with the soccer kick. Yeah, I love it. Yeah. I mean, I enjoyed the fight. Enjoyed the night or morning, I would say. And yeah, I wish we had more events like this with such scale. Jay?
I mean, come to think of it, it was a morning time event for you and Daniel to watch because the event started at 5 a.m. Polish time?
6. Oh, and now I remember the thing that was, I believe, implemented here, and I wish to see it more. Ref cams, referee cameras. Oh my god! Imagine referee cameras doing all the soccer kicks.
Yes, because it reminded you. Because in a way, watching those ref cams reminded you of watching Pride, right?
I mean, yeah, but not only Pride, but I also because I was I joined the MMA community after Pride collapsed, so I never had the opportunity to watch live replays of Pride ref cams. So it reminds me of my first journey abroad to MMA for PFL, and I seen the cameras there, so it was very interesting for me, and was like, I wish to see more of them because it's make the most brutal way possible. But also the Pride things for sure. But for my personal opinion, it also remind me of how awesome the idea of referee camera there is. Like, oh my god, seeing it live, it's making emotions. It's like, sorry, my English is not great.
It's okay. It's okay. Your English may not be great, but it's enough for us to understand.
Yeah, it's totally fine. Yeah, don't even trip. Yeah, we totally understand you. Just look at everybody else. Don't even trip. Yeah,
Now,
for my perspective on the Rizin 45, I absolutely loved it. 17 bouts, only one kickboxing bout, so 16 superior rule set bouts. Absolutely loved it. I want more of that. I want. I'm in favor of I love the K Festas where they had 30 fights. The more the better for me. I just love it, especially their superior rule set bouts instead of kickboxing bouts. But for me, it was really a card of the year. At least a candidate. It was event of the year candidate, if not the event of the year. It was just so freaking fun, and it was. I mean, and like you guys were saying, Yannick was saying people were talking trash on it. Not only that, the UFC media, the UFC lapdog media, that's supposed to be the MMA media, but they don't report MMA, they only report UFC. They had minimal coverage of it, and there was nothing else going on that weekend. They should have been covering Rizin even more, and we would have got even better numbers. But Rizin 45 did sensational with the numbers. I was looking at, for the weigh-ins, you guys, there was 15,000 impressions on Twitter or X for just the weigh-ins. That's incredible. That's unheard of. And then they scored like over 60 to 100,000 for after the event happened. And I know for the morning, right after the event finished in the morning, early in the morning, before any replays had happened or anything, it was over 60,000. So, and then remember, Sakaki Barasan was saying afterwards that they did extremely well in the pay-per-view sales, including for international buys and everything. So, and it was practically sold out, over 20,000 fans that they were talking about. They might have even, expanded the arena to be the 40,000 seat Saitama Super Arena. They did so well. So, I mean, it was, sold out, 20,000 plus fans, doing fantastic on pay-per-views. And for the card, if you guys notice, it was not like the main part of the card were the two bouts from Super Rizin 2 that didn't get to happen, right? It was Kaya Sakura versus Juan Archuleta, and then King Kyoji versus Horiguchi versus Shinryu. Those were the two bouts that did not get to happen on Super Rizin 2 that main evented this New Year's Eve event, and it was a smashing success. So, and they were technically, those were all technically Bellator collaboration events, the last of the Scotty Coates era, because Horiguchi is still top 5 ranked in Bellator on their bantamweight division, and Juan Archuleta is the number 3 ranked Bellator bantamweight right now. So those are technically Bellator collaboration super fights, and they were headlining. And I'm telling you guys, I believe that is what was part of it for why it was so successful. And the UFC lapdog media, they should have covered it more because there was nothing else going on. And it would have been even more successful. But it was, I saw posters Twitter posters or X posters online all night, watching the whole card, UFC guys, everything. It was just so much fun to watch you guys. And, Yannick was already saying, the highlights were Nasukawa's little brother. Ryujin Nasukawa, coming just a couple weeks earlier, had won a kickboxing match at Rise, and Sakaki Barasan was in the audience, and he interacted with Sakaki Barasan and said, "Hey, I want to fight on New Year's Eve," and Sakaki Barasan's like, "Okay, only if it's mixed martial arts," and Ryujin was like, "Yeah, sure," and then he debuts a couple weeks later at New Year's Eve, and from just like literally less than a month turnaround from a kickboxing bout. And he makes that sensational of a debut, like Yannick was saying. He just had such command of the superior rule set, and the way he got out of that armbar. He used the stomp defense to get out of armbar. That's the best defense to get out of an armbar than known. The stomp to the face. That's how you get out of an armbar. And it was such a joy to watch. And also, I want to make sure we also mention the heavyweights on this bout. Mikio Ueda, who Jay Quish, didn't you have an interview with him as well?
Yeah.
Right, on Focus Fights Audio. Make sure you guys check that out. Jay Chris has some fantastic interviews, including with Mikio Ueda, who put on a sensational performance. And he was facing Sudario, and it was Ueda's a karate guy, and Sudari's a sumo crossover guy. So it was a really fun matchup of karate versus sumo, and Ueda's looked fantastic in that one. And then also I want to make sure we talk about the main card. There was 2 20-minute intermissions, and the last one, and then there was the last intermission, then there was the 4 main card fights. And every single one of those absolute bangers, and it was so freaking fun. And it started off with Ren Hiramoto versus Yaman, which was before the event. If you guys have watched their Confession series, the Rising Confession series, which is like their behind the scenes like show that they do with the fighters and stuff for the press conferences and stuff like that, you can see the Japanese fans. There was a reason they called this one the People's Main Event. The Japanese fans absolutely loved Ren Hiramoto and Yaman, and they were clearly behind Ren. He was the baby face, the hero of the show, and Yaman was the villain of it. And it was, we expected fireworks from it, and it delivered. It was a banger, a striker's delight, everything. And even Yaman, even Ren mixed it up on Yaman, took him down, showed off some of his grappling. It was just so much freaking fun. One of the fight of the years for me. And even from this card too, you guys, Rising 45, 3 of the bouts ended up being voted by the fans as best fights of the year. Can you believe that? How awesome is that? The 2 main events with King Kyoji and Kai Asakura, and then the Yaman versus Ren Hiramoto. That also made, and they were top 5 of the fan votes for best fights of the year. That's how good this card was. So it was just really sensational, top to bottom. And Jay Chris, you were saying about Juan Archuleta, dude, being the weight miss beforehand, that really lit a fire under him. He was coming to take Kai's head off because he knew he had to win by finish to get the victory. Otherwise, it was going to be a no contest no matter what. So he was coming in there to kill Kai. And Kai, it just made the fight even more exciting to me. So I just absolutely loved it. I thought it was sensational. I loved watching it with you guys. I loved seeing all the attention it got, seeing the numbers and stuff like that. And just, man, and I just really want to chastise the UFC lapdog media for not covering it leading up to it when there was nothing else going on that weekend. That's to me, that's shameful. And that's part of the reason why Sakaki Barasan and them, they're like, well, why are we even going to be, we're going to cater to the Japanese fans instead of the international fans? Because why? Why would we do that when the international media is not going to give us any kind of coverage or anything? So we might as well cater to the Japanese fans. Well, go ahead, J. Krish. What?
Outside of us, so to speak.
Exactly. Yeah, we're it. We're it for the international coverage. They had like 1 or 2 articles. Not even a freaking weigh. Like if it wasn't for Juan Archuleta's weight miss, I bet you there wasn't even going to be a weigh-ins article about it. So that was just
probably would have been 1, maybe 2, but not to a certain degree, so to speak.
Exactly. That's the problem. That's the problem. But you know what? Hey, still. Like Sakaki Barasan said, I can't wait to talk about that when we transition to 2024, which we're going to do here real shortly. We might as well just start right now because he was talking about it, saying it did fantastic on the pay-per-views and with international buys. He's saying the international attention that was brought by Rising 45 was excellent. So, man, I just cannot wait. And through We Are Rising podcast, Andrew Benjamin, he had an interview with Sakaki Barasan where he was talking about all the stuff that was going to be happening in 2024. He was talking about 2 international events, possibly 1 in America, another one in the Middle East. We don't know where, somewhere. Maybe Saudi Arabia, since they're getting in all kinds of combat sports this year, it seems like. Maybe there, maybe somewhere like I think I heard the name Uzbekistan, the country Uzbekistan thrown out there. So somewhere in that, Middle Eastern Caucasus region, that I could see them having an event, loading it with international fighters, Russian fighters, Middle Eastern fighters, all hopefully some Polish fighters for Yannick and Daniel, because there's some, maybe they can do some more with KSW and all those, European, Eastern Euro leagues and stuff. So, I mean, I just can't wait for that. And then, who knows if they can break into the American. I mean, if they do, though, it's gotta be a commission that allows a superior rule set of Rizin. That is what makes Rizin cool. That's what makes them epic. That's why I call them the Epic Rizin Fighting Federation, because the superior rule set that allow it full pride rules and beyond with 12-6 elbows, everything. I mean, it's just, there's nothing better. There's nothing better. And also, a thing about 2023 that we didn't get to talk about much, but now we get to, is that was one of the first years that I can remember where Rizin did not do a Grand Prix. There was no Grand Prix in 2023, but you know what? That could have been because, like we were saying, the Super Rizin 2, when that happened with Kyoji and Shinryu with the eye poke, that kind of might have messed up that was supposed to be for the inaugural Bellator Flyweight Championship, and then they were going to do. They had plans. Remember, Temirov had a sensational debut as well in flyweight. What I believe was going to happen was they were going to have either Kyoji or Shinryu be the inaugural flyweight champion, and they were going to run a Grand Prix to find a contender at flyweight. And now the talk is this year, Sakakibara-san was talking about running a flyweight Grand Prix as well. He hasn't confirmed it yet, but there was in the Gong interview. The Gong magazine is a Japanese magazine that was interviewing Sakakibara-san, and he was talking about that he does a Grand Prix is going to be at flyweight, and he doesn't think there's going to be another one. So clearly the focus is flyweight in that division, and I could definitely see that happening this year. I hope it does. And I mean, and he was talking about also collaboration continuing, like Jay Krish, like you were saying, and like Captain was saying before he had to leave. The collaboration is going to be continuing with Bellator or PFL, whatever you want to call it. Sakakibara-san is in America right now. He was just at BKFC. Probably going to be collaboration continuing with BKFC. Maybe see some fighters like, I know Eddie Alvarez out with an eye injury right now, but guys like him and other fighters could be, because John Dodson's BKFC champion right now, and he does fights in the Epic Rizin. So we can see collaboration with BKFC. And also, Sakakibara-san, I'm really excited to see there's going to be a presser for PFL Tour, a Bellator presser for the Bellator series coming up on Monday. And it's going to be interesting to see if Sakakibara-san, if he makes an appearance there, or if they even mention the Epic Rizin there, and if there's going to be future collaborations. I'm really looking forward to that as well. I mean, I just cannot wait. So, but I want to hear Yannick's. Well, Yannick, before we get, I can go on and on about this for hours. I have so much stuff I want to talk about for 2024. But I want to hear also with Yannick, what do you guys to say about 2024?
Yeah, come to think of it, since we're already into projections for 2024, and you obviously, Jay Wolf, had listed yours off. Yannick, what say you?
I wanted to say, because I see that there's this super atomweight fight on the Landmark 8. So my prediction, because this week or this next week or in 2 weeks, Magdalena Czaban, the 2 or 3 times amateur atomweight champion, is making her professional debut in Poland. And I see her, because she's a very small girl, so she's not going to strawweight or even higher. She needs to fight in atomweight, so the only direction she can have is Asia, so Japan. So my prediction is that she would, if her professional debut is going smoothly, she will find her way to Rizin in 2024. So this is one of my predictions, like for international fighters. And like I said, with 3 or 4 times this International MMA Federation Championships, she would be a very good target for Rizin. About US event predictions, it's really fun that we talk about Denver, Colorado, and so on, but be reminded that Sakakibara was like 3 times discussing the Hawaii event.
Yes.
There were talks about some other states. I believe he will never try to do Las Vegas again after how they ruined the Pride 32 and 33 with their like not superior rule set back then. To those who are not aware, Nevada was like, you cannot have 10-minute rounds, you need to fight 3 5-minute rounds and so on and so on. So it was a very waste of potential there. So let's see what will happen with the Hawaii, especially that since Sakakibara has a very good relation with Scott Coker, who has done a lot of Hawaii events. Maybe he has that is why he's doing this, because as you said, one was making steps in the States and in Colorado, if I recall correctly. So maybe he would not like to participate in a run with Chatri, because let's face it, no one really wants to deal with Chatri talking. So they won't even in Hawaii, and I mean that would be nice. That would be really nice, because we all know that Hawaiian people really want MMA, because aside from Bellator, there are no big leagues in Hawaii. I mean, I do not recall PFL going there on World Series of Fighting from my head. I recall only Bellator going there, and they are making quite successful. So I don't know, maybe this is the direction that Rizin can go, depending on the talks with Hawaiian commissions, if they have any, but I believe they have, because and yeah, I believe that's my most common sense prediction. Of course, I would like more of dream matches to make, like with some Polish fighters, for example, contracting Michał Andryszak, who is like struggling to get a fight in Europe because he was going to fight in PFL, now not fighting in PFL, and so on, now trying to fight in Octagon, not fighting in Octagon. Michał Andryszak would be great potential for like heavyweight division. And yeah,
but the thing is, Yannick, Rizin needs to build up on the heavyweight division.
Yeah, but this is just me, making some, let's say, dream notes, dream contracts coming true, especially because, like I said, I know Michał Andryszak is having struggle to getting a fight, so, maybe if Rizin would try to make a heavyweight division, they could offer him a contract, especially that with this Azerbaijani card, they hired this Georgian fight Gogoladze. So yeah, they are making some moves. So yeah, this is what I would expect them to do. And yeah, I have nothing like, I'm pretty sure about it. More like, those two, second international show location, I'm not sure where it could happen. Jai said Middle East and Emirates. Yeah, it's good call, but maybe they'll go to Qatar, because this is also a country that's like building on its sporting power with like, a lot of budget. So maybe they would go to Qatar.
God, don't even.
Yannick, what do you think about a collaboration with KSW? Do you see how KSW is moving? They're having a show called KSW Epic, where they're allowing a superior rule set. It seems like Poland is really like them and KSW and WOTOR that Daniel Jazbicki does commentary for. They also allow the superior rule set. So it seems like the Polish, you guys really are like, you're embracing the superior rule set, it seems like, and pride rules and stuff like that, because that's what the KSW Epic is supposed to be about. It's supposed to be about all, you're gonna have multiple pride rules bouts on there. So yeah, I mean.
With Rizin, there's a problem that it was, I do not recall who, but 2 years ago, Martin Lewandowski or Maciej Kawulski made an interview with Kanał Sportowy, one of Polish big YouTube sporting channels. And back there, they said that they are not interested in collaboration with Sakakibara because they do not see value in Japanese market. So this is the statement. I believe it was Martin Lewandowski. He's handling some of the most of financial stuff of KSW. He's like more of this, hey guys, I want to make sure that the budget is fine. So Martin said that, yeah, Japan is very nice on paper, but whenever they had anyone from Japan, last time Clever, they did not sell tickets, they did not sell paper for them from their calculations. So yeah, with KSW having like this very rough spot because the Viaplay VOD platform is shutting down in 2024. They have a very rough year. So I do not believe they will make a collaboration with a promotion that is very, very, very below any stream in Poland. Like the only way we had Ryzen in like some sort of coverage, aside from articles that me and Daniel write for MMA.pl, were the times where Bellator collaborated with Ryzen, because this was in national television. The show was transmitted in national television, so that was the only way Ryzen was like, oh, okay, Ryzen is this stuff and so on and so on. But no one really watches. I mean, no one. It's like MMA is not mainstream in Poland. It's like niche, but Ryzen and JMMA is niche of this niche. So,
I mean, come to think of it, you can basically say, Yannick, that only you and Daniel and maybe a select few other people watch Ryzen on a sort of quasi-religious basis in Poland.
I believe I can find you a statistic that when we wrote the summary of the prediction for New Year's Eve stuff, it was like 300 views on MMA.pl, and we're like the MMA.pl is like the site that is very popular because we cover all MMA, not only the sport one but also freak one. So yeah, it's really a niche because people are like watching KSW and watching UFC. If we would have more Polish fighters in Ryzen before Ryzen come to Poland, then this would change. Because we are like, especially in Poland, not sure how you guys are working on that, how it's working on your country. But in Poland, we really like the sports that we have our representatives, and our representatives are going great. So
nice. Yeah, that's how it is everywhere. Do you guys have also Fight TV there? Is that how you guys get the pay-per-views for Ryzen? Is on Fight?
Yeah, we are on Fight. We have Fight allowed, and I also always say to people, "Hey guys, please do the pay-per-view." But to be honest, when we have comparison that KSW is wanting 50 zlotys for pay-per-view, while Ryzen after the translation from dollars to zlotys is like 70 to 90, then yeah, I see why people would not like to pay for Ryzen.
Oh, I thought it was like $15 for Ryzen. It was like super cheap in Poland. It was super cheap here. It was only $20 for us here in America for Ryzen 45.
There was this very funny deals with Fight because, for example, for you, one of our promotions that were on Fight, MMA Attack or Fan, I do not remember which one, was costing $20. So it's like 80 to 90 zlotys, when our pay-per-view was like 35 zlotys on our wow. So there was this shenanigans with like what Fight is interpreting and how it's translating the currency, how it's like calculating it. So yeah, do not see that it's, for example, it's $12 for you, that it means that it will be cheap for us, because like I seen examples that on my screen that I was paying like I said 80 zlotys, but sometimes I paid just in dollars and then it was cheaper. So it's really a mismatch with Fight.
Oh, okay. But hey, I want to ask you too, when was that interview with the KSW guy, CEO guy? I forget what his name is.
It's called Kanał Sportowy, so Sporting Channel in roughly translation. It was, I believe, 3 years ago, 2020 or 2021, something like that.
Oh, okay, so it was 3 years ago, and that was. I wonder if that's because of that was around the time Kleber. I wonder if he was supposed to come over or go back to KSW or whatever. I wonder if there's some upset feelings about Kleber coming over.
Kleber was released from. I believe Kleber was not extending his. He have not received the contract extension. It was, like I said, many years ago. I might misremember what happened back there, but I recall that he has not extended his contract. He was not received the extension of the contract. He was let go. And I believe, the interview was about that. And he said that because Kleber, from their point of budgeting, was not making them numbers.
Okay, see, so to me, that sounds like he is upset that Kleber left them for Ryzen, or if Ryzen took him because Kleber's half Japanese. So I wonder if that's been smoothed over at all, or if there's an opening for them to smooth it over. Because if they do international events in the Middle East or somewhere in like the Caucasus region or Eastern Euro region, I would love to see them have some KSW guys come over, especially the ones you were talking about, the heavyweight guys and something that you'd like them to see sign. I would love for that to happen. And especially seeing KSW now doing, for the first time in their history, finally doing some Pride Rules bouts with Superior Rule Set, and also WOTOR that Daniel Zabicki comments. He does the commentary for that, English commentary. That is another Polish promotion that does a full Superior Rule. They even allow headbutts in that one. So, you can really see the Polish culture, especially for the fight culture, really embrace Superior Rule Set. So that's why I would, especially now with KSW doing Pride Rules bouts for the first time in their history. To me, that's really it's a good sign to me. It's like, if these guys are doing these there's only one other place in the world. But it's literally the only place in the world is the Epic Rising in Japan, with the full Superior Rule Set. So it's so great to see Poland like embrace that. You know what I mean? So I really hope that those relationships will warm in the future. Maybe here in 2024, we can see a warming of that. Remember, I don't know if you guys have been seeing on Twitter or X, Clever Koike, and it was talking about his contract is up with Ryzen, and they were talking about he hasn't renewed it yet or whatever. So I wonder if they're like leaving it open for the KSW people to maybe bring him back or something, or I don't know. It's real interesting with that whole scenario, because it just, with the KSW Epic happening, I'm wondering if there's something like going on behind the scenes where they're trying to smooth over relationships with them. And maybe that opens the door in the future for when they do the international events. Like you were saying, Yannick, one of them is going to be possibly in Hawaii. Maybe that's why Scott Coker has not announced anything yet. After after PFL bought out Bellator, they brought in a bunch of Scott Coker's team to run the PFL tours, which we call it now, but nothing about Scott Coker. So we were wondering what's going to happen with Scott Coker, and I was trying to get the We Are Rising podcast, Andrew, to ask Kakibara-san about what's going on with Coker. And if they do a Hawaii event, like you were saying, Yannick, I could 100% see that happening with Scott Coker coming in to help them promote that Hawaii event. And that's what has me worried, because Scott Coker is not going to fight the commissions to allow the Superior Rule Set. He's going to say, okay, we're just going to do the unified rules, the pussified rules, I like to call them. And, that, to me, that would be, I don't know, it would get the brand recognition here in America for sure. But, to me, Scott Coker, they should fight for the Superior Rule Set. You remember Hawaii, not only before Bellator was doing events in Hawaii, there was a massive show called Rumble on the Rock. I don't know if you guys ever heard of that. That's
I believe it was Weidman was champion there, something like that.
Yeah, Weidman, and that's a famous one where Anderson Silva did an up kick of Yushin Okami there. That was ruled a no contest because at the time it was illegal. But that was during
it was no contest. It was DQ. It was
yes. Because it was illegal there, but of course in the Epic Rising that'll be 100% legal, and in Pride it'll be 100% legal. But that event was a Rumble on the Rock tournament. It was a one-night tournament. So the Hawaii Commission before has had balls to where they actually have done one-night tournaments before, epic one-night tournaments. So if Scott Coker would just fight a little bit, I think you could get to say, hey, look at what Colorado and Georgia are doing. They're allowing grounded knees and 12-6 elbows now. Can we at least have that here in Hawaii? You know what I mean? Just get the ball rolling a little bit and do something like that. But, it's going to be real interesting to see how they do play that, and also what happens with the Polish MMA. Because like we were saying, KSW Epic is going to be happening, and that's going to be their first time. Besides WOTOR, at least for KSW, the first time that they're going to do Pride Rules. So I'm just really excited to see what happens in the future. If they can, because remember when Ryzen first started, you guys? Do you remember when they had the banners of all the different promotions and stuff? KSW was one of them. Remember? So they had a relationship.
Yeah, I remember the comments. Like, I remember those times because I remember why they sent especially Goran, because Sakakibara asked for then champion Tomasz Narkun, but because this was Kawulski saying this. It was something like, we are not sure what will be the future of the Rising because of the history of both Pride and Dream projects, so we are not sending our champion to promote that. Then we are sending our second best fighter, Goran Relic, because we are not certain what is the future of Rising. That was the statement of Kawulski in 2015 or 16. I do not recall directly, but yeah, I recall the times. I recall why they sent who they sent. So yeah, and regarding the KSW Epic, I need to correct you on one thing. This is right now. This is supposed to be a cycling event, but not like a regular change in the rules. By that I mean that still most of the numbered events of KSW will be still under the KSW rules that are similar to unified ones.
Oh, okay.
What is important that when Marcin Różalski returned to KSW to fight, kickboxer Eros Zimmerman, this was fight in kickboxing, and this fight was having a little, maybe not backlash, but a lot of criticism, because both owners have always stated that on their numbered events there will never be no other rules than MMA rules, and KSW will be the promotion that will be like, the Polish UFC, because they stopped calling themselves Polish Pride, they start calling themselves Polish UFC, so on and so on. So the fight got a lot of backlash, for a lot of criticism for being kickboxing rules under the KSW cage. So now they wanted to make the super fight between Mamet Khalidov and Tomasz Adamek, and they wanted to make it in KSW because Tomasz Adamek was also in talks with Fame MMA. So this biggest freak fighting competition of KSW, not in sporting one, but in comes to entertainment business, Fame MMA is biggest competition of KSW. So to make sure that this happened, and to make sure that, well, they will not have another backlash to copy pasting someone else, or they were like breaking their own motto. They created this subgenre of events, Epic, that will hold multiple fights in multiple rule set. So it has boxing events of Mamet. It has kickboxing fight of Michał Królik, one of the most exciting Polish kickboxers. It has no hold banners, no holds barred, how they call it. So the spray rules with Gustafsson. And they have also kimono guys fighting each other, judo versus jiu-jitsu, but they are fighting under MMA rules, so very old school. And they have one night tournament. So this is just to make sure that you understand the full context, because I'm not sure how it's the market.
Okay, so it's like a different series event for KSW, right? Like how Landmark is like the Rising Cage series. This is like the KSW Epic series is like their different rule sets, different from their numbered events. Well, okay. Well, how is the Polish fan base? How do you think they're taking this? Like, has there been positive reaction to the Pride rules bouts and the one night tournament?
One night tournament is very highly regarded.
Nice.
Regarding the no hold barred rules, it was, to be honest, I'm a little sad that KSW did only one post about it, and it was like very generic that, hey, this is the fight that's going to happen. So the reactions are mixed. A lot of people that follows me and Daniel on Instagram and Twitter, they were like, yes, finally we have it. But a lot of people are also like, why do they need this? They are like I said, Polish MMA is based mostly about the UFC and KSW, so they are not used to ground and knees, soccer kicks, and so on and so on. So yeah, I think. Okay. But the event itself is regarded much more positively than Różalski versus Zimmerman fight, because, like I said, they stated from the very beginning, Epics are going to be events with different rules to promote martial arts. It's much closer. My thoughts about Epic is that it's much closer to what a regular one championship fight night looks like, with grappling, kickboxing, Muay Thai.
Yeah, I saw that.
And
that's great to hear that the Polish fans are embracing the one-night tournament. I love that because that's one of the things that I really want to happen in 2024. I want Sakaki Bara-san to go ahead with that flyweight Grand Prix because the Rizin Grand Prix, they follow the Almighty Pride FC format where the finals is a one-night tournament, the semifinals and finals in the same night. So they do a partial one-night tournament for the Rizin Grand Prix as well. So that's great to hear. The Polish people love that. Everybody around the world, I believe, loves the one-night tournaments, and we're seeing that with the kickboxing this year, right? Glory Kickboxing is going to do some 8-man one-night tournaments. Rise and King K1, as I like to call them. Both of them are going to be doing some one-night tournaments. King K1's bringing back their Max series. I mean, it's a pretty exciting time in combat sports right now. And we're having one-night tournaments come back, making a big comeback in kickboxing. And now KSW is going to be doing them in mixed martial arts, and the Polish fan base is embracing it. So I really think this is the perfect time for the Epic Rizin Fighting Federation in Japan and Sakaki Bara-san to bring back the Grand Prix format that was absent in 2023. This would be a perfect year to bring back the flyweight Grand Prix. And he said it's supposed to, if he's going to do it, he said it's going to start in the summertime of this year. So that's going to be real interesting to see.
And then, of course, it'll be real interesting to see. And I mean, hello, this is my podcast after all.
Oh, sorry, Dave, are you talking too much over here?
I felt so distracted because I was just watching AEW Dynamite. No, wait, not AEW Dynamite, but AEW Collision, and seeing one of the people that obviously I interviewed for Focus Fights Audio when he was back wrestling on the local circuit for the Reality of Wrestling, Brian Keith, officially become All Elite as of a few moments ago. So, big ups to the bounty hunter. But
nice.
Yeah, of course.
And that's on Focus Fights Audio?
Yeah, you can. I mean, yeah, I'll send you, Jay Wolf, the interview after we're done here. But
okay, cool. But for all the listeners can go to Focus Fights Audio and hear that interview then. Cool.
Yeah, of course. I mean, it's been on the Focus Fights blog. I mean, it's been on the Focus Fights interview tab for like over a year. But still, though, point of the matter is, when it comes down to my predictions for what I want to see out of Rizin for 2024, I mean, let's just face it. Yeah, it may be hard for them to try and get shows booked in the United States because of certain rule sets. And I know that you probably think that, we're going to use the pussified rules. I mean, you may be right, but then again, you're probably wrong, Jay Wolf, because of the fact...
I hope so.
Yeah, because of the fact that there are certain promotions that... I mean, what am I trying to say? Rizin is basically just trying to spread its wings a little bit. Even though now this is going to be their 9th year in business, I can only hope that when it comes down to what Rizin does in the future, that they do it to the best of their capabilities. And as far as future international shows, I can see them doing one in Hawaii because they've been wanting to do that for the longest amount of time. I don't see them doing one in Florida, Colorado, or Georgia, despite the latter two having more relaxed rule sets. And
really, not even Colorado, where the commissioner.
I mean, I know that you said the commissioner. I mean, the state athletic commissioner in Colorado was saying, "Hey, we want to work with more unique rule sets, like what they are supposed to do or set to do with that damned one championship."
But he actually name dropped Rizin. He actually talked about being open to the Rizin rule set. So I mean, if that's not, that's got to be sending up a signal to Sakaki Bara-san, hey, come to Colorado. And I think that they would do that eventually, if not this year, in the future.
Yeah, but then again, here's the thing, though. When it comes down to Rizin, and it's the same problem that's plaguing ONE FC. If you were to ask anybody on the streets of Atlanta, or basically skiing down the slopes in Colorado Springs or Denver, and, name me 3 or 5 Rising fighters right off the bat, they wouldn't tell you who their favorite fighters are. They would tell you, for one, who's not in Rising, and 2, what the hell is Rising.
Well, yeah, of course, because everybody thinks that it's just UFC. But you got to talk to the hardcore fans. I'm sure the hardcore fans in Georgia would know. I mean, just same thing with Colorado, and especially in Hawaii as well. I mean, and especially if they get some crossover fighters. Remember, also another thing we got to talk about: PFL and Bellator. They have released a bunch of different fighters, including top 10 ranked fighters that got released. Anatoly Tokov, Fader team member, the number 3 middleweight in Bellator, apparently has been released and is fighting an ACA here coming up pretty soon. He could be a free agent right now. That is absolutely a fighter to bring in Epic Rising, and he's fought there before. Other fighters in the lighter weight divisions, like Sidney Outlaw, he's a top 10 ranked Bellator lightweight. It was just revealed that he was released from his contract as well as a free agent as well. And they're not the last ones. There's other ones. So there could be a massive free agency period happening right now, and they could bring in a bunch of fighters. And then especially fighters that have fought on American shows and had the American name recognition. We're talking about besides UFC fanboys here, we're talking about hardcores that follow mixed martial arts, that they would recognize these guys.
What you mean here, especially considering the fact that, and I think we probably stated this, but when it comes down to Rising now, like you said, there is no more Bellator you could say as of this year, as of next year, whatever. But problem is, there is really no more Bellator. It's just this year is going to be a shell of its former self with 8 more events before they close down the doors. But you can basically say that right now, Rising is the number 2 promotion on the planet. You can
absolutely
say that. No
especially monetarily, especially with money and pay-per-view. They're the only other pay-per-view viable company in the world right now, besides UFC. We'll see what happens with PFL. They're about to have a champ versus champ pay-per-view that looks like it's tracking to be like it might be successful, but they got to prove it first. The Epic Rising is proven pay-per-view viable, and they just did it again over New Year's Eve. That was apparently very successful, even with the international fans on pay-per-view. So that is a very, attractive destination for fighters to go to. And like Yannick was saying, there's several even Eastern Euro fighters that could be out there available right now. Yannick was talking about a heavyweight guy. I forget what his name was. But, I would love to see Rising bring those guys in. Who was it, Yannick? Who was it?
Michał Andryszak.
Yes. I would love to see Rising bring in those type of fighters as well to beef up all their divisions. Because right now, really, Rising only has 4 divisions, right? They have all divisions, but 4 complete divisions, including women's atomweight, right? There's only like lightweight, featherweight, and bantamweight. And now they're going to build a flyweight division. That's why I believe they should do a flyweight Grand Prix this year. And with all these free agents happening in Eastern Euro and from the PFL and Bellator, dude, they could fill out the rest of the divisions, especially heavyweight, and maybe is Fat Ninja, is Igor Tanabe, is he at welterweight or is he staying at middleweight?
He's pretty much at money weight at this point.
Yeah. Okay. Well,
he fought as high as light heavyweight. He could fight as high as heavyweight if he wants to, and we've already seen him at middleweight and and welterweight. But the thing is, in order for Rising to keep Igor Fat Ninja Tanabe around, they have to build not 1, not 2, but 3 whole divisions, maybe 4 whole divisions around him. And
maybe just have him pick a division. Just have him pick a division and then build that division and then start there. And then
the thing is, Rising needs to build up all their men's divisions above 155 pounds.
Agreed. And now, since there is a massive free agency class happening right now, with all the fighters that PFL Tour is releasing from their Bellator contracts. I mean, Anatoly Tokov he gave Johnny Eblen a fantastic fight at middleweight. Johnny Eblen is arguably the #1 middleweight in the world, right? Even better than the UFC middleweight. And we're about to find out on the PFL champ versus champ just how good he is, because he's going up against the PFL light heavyweight champion on that card. So we're going to see really how good Johnny Eblen is. And that's a guy that has been talked about making the jump to the UFC as well. So Anatoly Tokov, as a fantastic free agent, and he's fought in Epic Rising before. Remember, he was one of the Fader team guys. He was there with Jerry Prochazka, Vadim Nemkov, all those guys. And you know, I would love to see Rising get back to that, like how they were when they started out, having all these awesome Eastern Euro, Russian fighters and international fighters on their cards. And I could really see that starting to happen this year, even though the product it looks like it's going more towards Japanese-centric with most of these cards that were announced already for the first 3 of this year are mostly Japanese fighters. But there's still international fighters on there, and we'll see what happens. I mean, they pretty much built into the super fight of Ren Hiramoto versus Mikiro Asakura. That's going to headline a show in Japan and sell it out, right? Are they going to put international fighters on there? What's going to happen? Sakaki Barasan and Ren Hiramoto, I'm bringing him up because he was just in Florida last night. Today was the 2nd or 3rd of February. He was just in Florida.
Today is February 3rd, 2024.
Okay, so
important is. So yeah, you can say February 2nd was the date when Ren Hiramoto and I think Tatsuki Sawamoto were there for Rising. I mean, as representatives of Rising at the BKFC show in South Florida, BKFC 57.
Yes, and Sakaki Barasan, the CEO of Rising, was there as well. And he tweeted out saying he's going to have a meeting with Feldman, the CEO of BKFC. And who knows what they're cooking up for us. They could be cooking up, I mean, like we were talking about earlier, there could be like a Yaman bare knuckle bout because he loves doing the 4-ounce gloves for kickboxing and Muay Thai, right? We could see some Rising bare knuckle fights happen. Who knows what he's being cooked up? There could be crossover fighters happening. Sakaki Barasan's in the States right now cooking up something good for us. And who knows if he's going to appear at Bellator's Monday presser or PFL Tour's Monday presser is happening. Be real interested to see what happens, you guys. I'm really excited about that. Because remember, PFL right now, they have several divisions that they don't even do. And like Patchy Mixed and Juan Archuleta, they're supposed to be in the bantamweight division, right? PFL does not even have a bantamweight division yet. They're just going to have. Oh, what do you want to say, Yannick? Go ahead.
PFL is building bantamweight division actually, but in the Europe for now, because there was this last year tournament or last year signing of some bantamweights. So maybe it's that they do not have it before does not mean that they will not have it in the next year, because remember, we do not know anything about next year. There are no events, no tournaments, so on, no info right now. So we cannot. I believe that they even claimed that the acquisition of Bellator was to put some divisions on notice. So that's exactly what happened. Don Davis was saying that they're not going to have anything. Bantamweight is only going to be in Bellator events this year, and next year in 2025 is when they're going to look to start possibly the bantamweight tournaments in the division in PFL for their tournament series, right? So, but what's going to happen to all the guys? I mean, they have a lot of bantamweights under contract on Bellator. There's going to be a lot of free agents happening, right? I mean, obviously not going to be guys like Patchy Mix, the superstars, right? But I mean, Juan Archuleta, I mean, even though he technically missed weight and maybe he's going to be forced up to featherweight, he was fighting at bantamweight, and he's the number 3 ranked bantamweight in Bellator still. So, I mean, guys, there's a lot of potential there for crossover collaboration, super fights, and potential free agents. That, I mean, this year we could see the Epic Rising really start to build their divisions, stack their already established divisions, get a bunch of international free agents, maybe do a Grand Prix in flyweight to build that division for King Kyoji Horiguchi. And just, I mean,
There's a lot of cool stuff that's going to be happening. I cannot wait. It's going to be awesome. I'm really excited about it.
Yeah, I am excited about it too. I'm sure, Yannick, you're excited about it. But hey, I think we can all agree that if Rizin can do what they can to make 2024 feel as epic as possible, whether or not those 2 international events that they're rumored to have, and this is just a rumor, but still though, if Rizin can have an epic 2024, I think we'll all be satisfied, no matter where they go with the 2 international events that they're rumored to have. In my case, I think they'll probably have one in the States. Maybe it'll be Hawaii, just to, have all the Japanese fans fly easily to Hawaii without having to touch ground in the continental U.S. And then, especially for a potential Mayweather-Pacquiao 2 fight, they need to have it in not Saudi Arabia, but maybe the United Arab Emirates.
Hey, well, you never know. They were talking about, also, do you see that Mark Hunt and Mike Tyson, and also before Mark Hunt, it was rumored Fedor Emelianenko and Mike Tyson were supposed to box? That could be a fantastic co-main event to Mayweather-Pacquiao, the rematch. So, I mean, and that's supposed to be happening in the Middle East. I could easily see that happening, Jay Krish.
You know what? Come to think of it, seeing the fact that you are on the train of thought here, and pretty soon we're going to have to go ahead and wrap this up.
Oh, come on, already? It's only been 2.5 hours.
Yeah, I know. But considering the fact that this is going to go into podcast form, I got to get this, quick done in a hurry. But
all right.
What are your thoughts about
I also wanted to say that I slowly need to go to sleep because it's 3 a.m. in the morning.
My apologies, Yannick. But we'll just close it out with this question for Jay Wolf. What are your thoughts about the potential fight between Shannon the Cannon Briggs and Quentin Rampage Jackson?
Oh, I love it. I love Rampage, and seeing him fight again, that'd be awesome. Hopefully it's successful. I love the boxing crossover bouts. Ngannou really showed the world that mixed martial arts guys can cross over to boxing and put on fun fights. So I'm looking forward to it. Who's it supposed to be fighting? Is it with Triller, or is it who's the promotion that's putting it on? Do you know yet?
No, not really, but I did hear that it was going to be in Qatar at probably later this year, if not the end of the year.
Oh, interesting. I wonder if that could be a potential undercard bout for the Mayweather-Pacquiao, if it could be in Rizin. Because Rampage loves Japan, right?
Oh,
so,
yeah.
He always talked about it. He loved his time in Almighty Pride FC, right? I mean, and he has a great relationship with Sakakibara-san and them. I wonder if that could be part of like the undercard or something to Mayweather-Pacquiao. And I wonder if that even is still going to happen, because Pacquiao was just saying it's all over the boxing news that Pacquiao wants to make a comeback to boxing. He's going to be in the Olympics in the summertime. So if the Mayweather-Pacquiao rematch is happening, that can't happen in the summertime because of the Olympics. Or would it be happening at the New Year's Eve? And if Rampage and the guy who's fighting, I forget what is right now, it's slipping my mind because we're live. Shannon Briggs, thank you. If that's happening at the end of the year, could that be around New Year's Eve and be happening on the undercard of that? I mean, if it's still happening, I don't know. These are things we got to see play out and see how it goes. But yeah, I mean, I'm excited for that bout. That'd be pretty cool. I love the boxing crossovers. Seeing Sakakibara-san just like embrace the bare knuckle. I mean, we could see a bare knuckle crowd, like a collaboration bare knuckle events as well, where we have mixed martial arts guys. It's already happening with mixed martial arts guys. John Dotson, perfect example. He's BKFC champion right now, the bare knuckle champion, and he fights in the Epic Rizin. So, I mean, dude, I can't wait to see what the rest of 2024 has to offer. I just hope they go ahead with that Grand Prix and just, I mean, I'm really excited for the Monday presser with PF Bellator to see if maybe there's something announced then. I mean, I'm getting my hopes up. I don't care. I'm full of hopium right now. I just love it. There's so much cool stuff that can happen.
But still, though, I mean, I know that you are full of hopium, weren't we all?
Okay, I know. We gotta close out the show. All right, let's close out the show.
Yeah.
I can keep talking for hours, but
all I know is that in exactly 3 weeks' time, the Rising Fighting Federation will have their big show. Well, actually, their first show of 2024. That'll be Rising Landmark 8 from the Saga Arena in Saga Prefecture, Japan, which I think will mark the first time any major JMMA promotion has head over to the Saga Prefecture, and it'll feature a main card with Luis Gustavo versus Yoshinori Horie, Vugar Karamal versus Kazumasa Maijima, Yusuke Yachi versus Dark Rikuto Shirakawa, Ayaka Hamasaki versus Claire Lopez, and Takahiro Ashida versus Hiroaki Suzuki. Of course, there are more bouts announced on that card. Vugar is pretty much TBD, considering that his case in Azerbaijan is pretty much going through the system right now over there.
Yeah. We don't know if it's already, if he's out already, or if it's still going on, right? Because that happened after Landmark 7. We forgot to mention that.
Yeah.
So that was months ago. So it could already be done and finished. We don't know.
Yeah, but still, Jay Wolf, card subject to change on that. Be sure to check the Rising social media accounts for more information. Their links are in the description. And then Rising Landmark 9 will take place from Kyoto. Well, actually, what was supposed to have been Rising 46 is now Rising Landmark 9. March 23rd from Kobe War Memorial Hall, Kobe, Hyogo, Japan. Featuring Taka Kenshin looking to shake off his losing mark against disgraced paralegal Cody Jarabek.
The Karate Combat collaboration bout. Karate Combat veteran. Yannick, what do you want to say, Yannick? Yannick, what do you want to say?
I just want to say that I really need. Sorry, guys, that I need to leave you off the show. But yeah, I really need to go right now.
Yannick's got to go. All right.
Real quick, Yannick, how can people contact you?
Oh, yeah, I'm on Twitter /X under the Mishnowski, so feel free to contact me in terms of Polish MMA, JMMA, a little of European MMA, and thank you for having me. Also, you can find me on Discord, but I do not remember how I called myself on Discord, so I cannot remember that because it was many years ago. Thank you, and see you guys anywhere in the future.
Thanks, John. That was great, brother. Thanks for coming on. That was cool. Good talking to you.
But yeah, point of the matter is, and I'm gonna go ahead and continue real quick with the listings of the matches for Rising Landmark 9. Yuto Kentaro Hokumura versus Daiki Tsubota. Yuta Kubo versus Ryogo Takahashi. Urson Batman Yamamoto versus Yuya Monkey Shibata. Igor Tanabe, Fat Ninja versus Strasa Kishi Kunimoto. Goji Takeda versus Kyohei Hakiwara. The shootboxing goddess Reina Kubota versus Yuri Shim. Naoki Inoue versus Shoko Masamizu Sato. And in a non-title bout, the Rising Lightweight Champion Roberto Satoshi de Souza versus Kita. Hold on. Let me do this correctly. Kita Keitaro Nakamura. Sorry. That's all I could do without trying to go completely off balance.
That was great.
Yeah, thanks, dude. But again, March 23rd, Kobe, Hyogo, Japan, Rising Landmark 9. Stay tuned to the Rising social media for more details on that and how we can watch it internationally. And then Rising 46 from the Yayake Arena in Tokyo, Japan, April 29th. The only bout set for that card so far is the long-awaited featherweight title bout between Chihiro Suzuki and Masanori Kanehara. More bouts will be announced upcoming. More details on how we can watch it in the States and elsewhere around the world will be upcoming. Check out the Rising links in the description for more details. And Jay Wolf, before we officially get the hell off of here, how can people find you?
Oh, thanks, brother. And you see it right there on the banner. At J Wolf in the Ryzen Discord, and at J Wolf on Twitter X, and it's misspelled with 2 Y's, just like it was way back in the day when I first started commenting on the Yahoo boards. That's how you know it's me, and that's how it's easy to search with the 2 Y's, everything. So that's how you can contact me. And please jump in that Epic Ryzen Discord. It's a lot of fun there. You know, that's the We Are Ryzen people, you yourself and Andrew from the We Are Ryzen podcast run that server, and it's a lot of fun. And also right here, also on Focus Fights, make sure you guys check out all the different, like Jay Chris's interviews and stuff. Fantastic. Also, I've been on several different Focus Fight shows, including this one, so check those out as well. Also, Teep to the Junk, if you guys remember him, he does fantastic shows about old-timey boxing guys and stuff, and that's what he's doing right now. But he also does some stuff about Ryzen, and especially the PFL or PFL Tour, Bellator events that are going to be happening. So I'll probably be on his show coming up in the next couple of weeks on the Random Acoustic Thoughts is his YouTube channel. And also, Jay Chris, want to make sure to let the people know for these 3 events coming up for Ryzen. It's going to be different. On 2/24, for us in America, that's Friday night on 2/23, February 23rd. That's when the show is going to air here in the States. And then for March, the March one, that's going to be at normal time on a Saturday. Or no, excuse me, is it say March is the 23rd as well?
Let me check the event. Shit, what am I trying to say? Ryzen Landmark 8 is scheduled for... No, Ryzen Landmark 9 is scheduled for March 23rd.
Okay, so that means that's another Friday show. That means that's on the 22nd for us in America that we have to stay up late for. And then for the April 29th one, this is a really important point. That one is on the 29th, which is a Monday, right? That's a holiday in Japan. So for us, it's going to be on the 30th. Excuse me, it's going to be on the 28th, Sunday night. So that means you're going to have to call your work and take off that Monday, April 29th, and call a sick day, vacation day, whatever, because you're going to have to stay up the Sunday night before all night to watch that one. And that's going to be one of their that's a numbered event. They're going to stack it because Chihiro's showcasing that. They're showcasing their champion, Chihiro, versus Kanahara, who earned the shot by being clever. So that's going to be a really big card. So make sure you prepare right now and put in for vacation time.
That's TBD for me as well, because I don't even know if I'll have I don't even know if when I do get a job, and I hope to get a job within the next, 2 months, so I could actually start affording to pay for all this shit. I could really hope that when it comes down to this particular show, that I would not be able to go into work until later in the day.
Yeah, if you can't do it because of the work, don't even trip. Hopefully it's going to still be on Fight TV, and they offer replays. So all you got to do is just get the Fight TV pay-per-views, and you have the replay option, so that if anything is conflicting with your guys' work schedule or anything, just get the Fight TV pay-per-view, and you can watch the replay when you get home from work. So it can all work out, no problem. Hey, can you put my banner back up there again? I love my banner with all the stuff from. It's got your links. There you go. Yes.
Oh yeah. But again, if not, just spend all day Tuesday watching it.
Exactly.
Which come to think of it, that kind of reminds me. That event will take place on April 29th, and there's not going to be much on TV outside the NBA playoffs and MLB regular season. So you know what? Might as well make a day out of it to enjoy it, but still don't. All I got to say about me, you can, obviously, I'm on Twitter at ChrisGary92, on Instagram. Well, let me rephrase that. I am on Twitter and the fans. If you know, no, I am on Twitter and the fans at ChrisGary92. If you know, you know. If not, ask around. I am on Instagram at ChristianGary1992. And you can check out all the other links that I got, as well as the Linktree page for this particular brand, Focus Fights and Focus Fights Audio, in the description below. I mean, other than that, man, I mean, I'm surprised we managed to make it this far. I mean, 2 hours and 40 minutes is a long time to talk about this shit.
Oh man, I could keep going, Jake. We only got to spend like 40 minutes on the 2024 stuff. We spent like an hour and like 10 minutes on the 2023 stuff.
Yeah,
I could go even more. We go even longer. We want to hit a full 3 hours?
No, because I would have to basically make 6 podcasts just to make it perfect. I mean, I would have to clip all this shit out, so to speak.
No, it's been a lot of fun, Jake Krish. Thanks for having me on.
Yeah.
And if you want to do any other shows, just let me know. I love coming back. I love talking about the Epic Rise and the Superior Rule Set. You know, it's my favorite. So, I mean, maybe they're going to announce some stuff on Monday with Bellator. So who knows? Maybe
Monday, February 5th for those that are watching this right now, or at least trying to watch it afterwards. But still, though, point of the matter is, and I think you know where I'm going with this, I'm done. You're done. Hopefully, we hope y'all enjoyed listening to this or watching this. However you may feel like you're enjoying this, we're just glad you're a part of the Rising Fan Nation, and even more thank you for listening to us via Fights Audio or the We Are Rising podcast, or anybody that really, follows Rising as much as we do. We enjoy that y'all enjoy watching us, and obviously the people behind Rising enjoy how we're covering this, because nobody else is putting them over like us.
Absolutely.
But other than that, Jay Wolf, I think you know where I'm going. And let's just say it's not up to yonder anytime soon. But still, though.
Do you have the legend outro?
Yes, sir. Let's go ahead and get out of here the only way we know how.
Let's do it.
Okay. So from all of us to all of you, Jay Wolf and Jay Christian Gary signing off. And as the great and legendary Lenny Hart always likes to say in closing,
Pride never died. Pride is rising. Peace.
You got that right, Jay Wolf. See y'all soon. Later.